There we go. So autofocus is off. All right, it looks like I'm live, but I'm not sure if my audio is working. So can somebody, whoever's watching, let me know. I shouldn't be having manual focus pop up on the screen like that. That should be gone. Why was it? Oh, I must have an info button up. There we go. Okay. I don't hear myself. I mean, I know my mic is working through here, but can you guys hear me? You guys can hear the audio? Happy New Year, guys. Audio is fine. All right, awesome. You guys can hear me out of both ears? Yay, I love it. Okay, do I need to turn my gain up or anything like that? So if I'm here, let me make some noise. Ooh, it looks pretty high. Let's see. So hey! Hey! It's clipping on my thing. Is that fine? It's in the red. I don't think that's fine. I wonder if OBS has a setting where it will automatically, as I live stream, compress my lower volume and then limit my higher volume. It's loud, right? It's loud, right? Okay. Hey! Hey! Okay, that's better. But now is my quiet volume okay? Can you guys still hear my quiet volume? And I'm out of just one ear. Thank you for letting me know, Astral Phoenix. How do I fix out of one ear? That's terrible. All right, so in about 5 minutes, I'm gonna have a guest speaker come on, my friend and fellow vocal coach Felipe Carlvalho. Today's live stream is gonna be about pulling chest voice. Some of the questions we're gonna talk about and try to get to the bottom of is pulling chest voice bad? How do you pull chest voice? How do you not pull chest voice? What's the difference between pulling chest voice and mixed voice? Is pulling chest voice dangerous? Is it safe? You know, can you hurt yourself? How can you hurt yourself? What even is chest voice? I mean, is it a muscle? Can you pull a muscle? What is it that we're talking about? Where did this idea come from? And is it a good idea? Should you believe it? So that's some of the stuff we're going to talk about today in a couple minutes. And how, let me see if I can get my voice to come out of both ears. Please, God. Both ears. Let's see. It does say mono. You know, it says mono right there. That it's on mono. So I don't know why it would only be coming out of... I'm just going to make all of them mono. Alright. Let me know if that fixed it, guys. Hi. I wish you guys had your real names, because it kills me to like say out these like tags when like I know I've asked what your names are before and then like I forget. Is there a way, can you have a nickname in a chat here? Is that possible? Can you like change your guys' names in here from the chat? Ink can hear me from both sides of his earphones. Alright, well, that settles it. I think I fixed the problem. Look at me. Yeah, I'm getting better at technology. Ooh, 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 ooh. My skills are coming up. All right. Let me know. All right, guys. So for today's call, once again, if you're just arriving, I'm going to be having my friend and fellow singer and vocal coach Felipe Carlvalho from Brazil come on. He's a metal singer, and metal rock singer, and he's going to be sharing his perspective about pulling chest, and we're just going to have a conversation, and we're going to include you guys in it. So it's echoing. Ooh, okay, we got to fix that. After I just talked myself up about my skills too. That's not good. All right, what if I mute one of them? I had like 2 mic gains on my OBS settings. How's that, guys? How's it going? How is it going? Can you hear my voice without an echo? Whoa. That's it? All right. Yeah! Damn, my run's sloppy. Okay. Well, welcome, guys. Nicholas, Muhib, welcome to the stream. Hi, Samantha. What's going on? Just a couple minutes. We're going to be starting the call. I'm going to have my friend come on to the call, and we're going to talk about this idea about pulling chest voice. What do you guys know about pulling chest voice? What is chest voice to you? If you think pulling chest voice is bad, why? Right? You know, we hear it's a really common thing that we hear on the internet about like, that note's mixed voice. Don't, you know, it's not pulling chest. Or some people will be like, that's full chest. Or they'll be like, that's, you know, yeah, that's my full chest voice or something like that. So, you know, we will get into that. I want you guys to just start percolating that on your brain. What do you know about it? What have you heard? Right? We're going to dive into all that. Start thinking of some questions, some juicy questions. Nicholas, can you guys talk about Brendan Urie, please? His chest voice / chest mix, not his crazy high stuff. Yeah, you're not talking about his like, whoa sounds. His chest voice, his chest mix. I don't know if we're going to talk about Brendan Urie specifically. And the problem is if I pull up examples, I think I may get the video demonetized, which would suck. So I'm a little concerned about that, but maybe if I find a live one, you know what, I'll try it out. I'll just see how it goes today. I'll pull up live examples of what we're talking about, to sort of show. So if you remind me, I'll try to bring up a clip of Brendan Urie. So Brendan Urie is not really a chest puller. He is, well, we'll get into what that even means, but he does in some cases, but not as much as other examples. Pulled chest sounds like a strangled cat. Yeah, I like that. That's that's it's definitely what they would have us believe, isn't it? All right, it should be any minute now that we start this call. What exercises would you recommend for the second passaggio, like around A4 to A sharp 4 and higher? I would recommend twanging and going to a brighter sound right around that area. But the exercise depends on what you want and what the problem is, you know? Like what your goal is and where you're failing in relation to your goal. That is an interesting area in male voice specifically. For a girl that would be... Well, let me extrapolate here. That's a fourth. So it would be... What's the fourth up from here? For a girl, that area is right around C5. Yeah, it's right around C5. So that area is tricky, and you have to kind of twang more. So let's say we're trying to get our voice to go high in a strong way. So I'm kind of starting with this assumption already. So we got... Ooh, what was that? I played the wrong notes. Let's say you want to carry like this very loud, strong quality up into your voice, and you start to hit A sharp. So let's change the key. Where would that be? I don't know what I'm doing on the piano. It would be here. And so you start to feel maybe your voice lighten. and you start to lose that quality. Maybe you can't even get past that point. What needs to happen is your voice needs to continually get brighter. Your mouth needs to open. There's a couple of different choices you have, but generally speaking, one of the things you really need to do is go towards this brighter quality. So if you have a darker sound in your voice, ah, ooh, e, you need to start to move that more towards something like, hey, ah, ooh. Generally speaking, right around that area, there's a kind of timbre switch that needs to happen. So, yeah, it's a loaded question that you just asked. How to develop neutral mode above the A4 note? It's going to be relatively falsetto-y above that point, Muhib. I think neutral has a lot to do with falsetto. At least falsetto-y sensations, and falsetto in head voice maybe would be a better word to use, but for me I consider it falsetto. I think it has a lot to do with M2. Was all that chest overdrive? Yes, it was chest and overdrive. Not just because of the A vowel, but the A vowel is what allowed me to do it. Right? I could do an A vowel without doing overdrive. I could do A in neutral, curbing, edge. All right. Okay, here we go. So I'm gonna call him up. Get this started.
Closer to me. Hey.
Hey, I can't hear you. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I hear you fine. Let me see.
Ooh, that's weird. Okay, hold on, guys.
Hmm.
I think I've got a mess with my.
Hold on.
Yeah, I can't hear anything. Audio and video, microphone. Can you hear me? Can you type in the chat? Yeah? Why can't I hear you? Alright, are you talking? Oh, because my headphones aren't plugged in. There we go. Hey, how's it going? Yeah. There we go. Okay. Yes, it is. All right. Let's. Yeah, I can hear your keys. I can hear you out of both ears. Hopefully what I just did in the Skype settings shouldn't affect the volume. Um. Oh, they could hear you already. That's interesting. How could they hear you? That's weird. That you're not even on the thing yet. Okay. Let's. What? All right. Skype. Hmm. Is it this one? Um. Hold on. Trying to find your screen. There we go. All right. So, hold on. Gotta. They should. Let me know, guys. Can you hear Felipe? All right. Ooh. Skype. There we go. Where am I gonna put you on the screen? I guess. Hmm. I want to be, I guess, closer this way to the mic to save some room for you. Okay, let's try this. So if I'm here and you're there, you're here. Yay, you're here. Um, yeah, that works. Okay. So as long as it's good, hold on. Let's make sure. Just gotta make sure that they can hear you all right. Greg, please also turn up your mic volume. All right, I'll turn it up, but the problem is when I'm loud, it's gonna kill your ears. So fair warning. You asked for it. Here's my mic volume turned up. Can you guys hear Felipe? And Yeah, do you hear him well? Do you hear me well? I do. Greg is very low. Why y'all wait this whole time to tell me? Felipe does have a YouTube channel. I will share a link. I will put that in the description. You guys can't hear Felipe at all? Felipe is very quiet. He's not quiet for me. They hear me well, but they can barely hear. Maybe they're actually hearing you out of my headphones, and it's not coming through OBS. That's possible. Let me fiddle with it. Um, well, that's definitely the video, so they can see you. Hmm, 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 hmm. I th I think it should advanced audio properties. It should just come uh wait, my computer audio. Maybe not. Maybe I'm not. Maybe that's yeah, that's what I'm doing. All right, how do I fix that? You know what's upsetting is I had this figured out when I did the call with Tony, and now I've forgotten. uh, let's see. Maybe it's audio output capture, right? It would be an output. Okay. All right. Can you guys hear Felipe now? Is he louder? Oh wait, they could hear you before I plugged in. Isn't that weird? I plugged in my audio thing, and then they stopped being able to. I plugged in my headphones into my Scarlett, and then they stopped being able to hear you. Yeah, can you guys not hear Felipe still? Jesus Christ. Hmm. I don't even see. Let me. All right, say something. Do it again. No, I think it. I don't think so. I don't. I don't. I don't think so. Yeah, because I've turned on the desktop audio, right, or my other thing, but I don't even see the volume level is not adjusting when you talk. Yeah, yeah, it was on Skype. Um, we could try. I think it has something to do with me though. All right, do you guys hear him now? I'm just gonna try a couple different things in the sound settings. We can hear him only through my headphones. That's so whack. Yeah. I have no idea. It's 2i. No, it's actually 2i4. Not yet. They still couldn't hear you when I changed it to that. So what if I go back? And then watch it. Now I can't hear you. Alright. Do you guys hear Felipe now? Because I can't hear him at all. I'm sorry, Caleb. It hopefully won't take me 2 hours. It's only been Caleb shitting on me in the chat. It's only been half an hour. Okay, hopefully we get it fixed soon. I got a plan to just schedule it a half hour after I start. Is it gone? Can you guys hear Felipe? It's gonna be longer, baby, because I'm having technical difficulties.
Okay. As long as I'm not disturbing you.
Nobody is saying anything, and I can't hear Felipe, so let's see. Okay, let me see if I can hear Felipe now. Hello, Felipe? No, I don't hear Felipe. You guys don't hear Felipe, and I don't hear Felipe. That's amazing. Okay. Do I hear you now? No, I still don't hear you. Okay. I don't hear you at all, Felipe. So maybe it's my Skype settings. Let's go to that. Audio and video. Okay. Hello? Oh wait, that was my microphone. Okay. You should be able to hear me still. And now if I switch this to the aggregate device, say something?
How about now? No?
This is really frustrating. Y'all think you guys are frustrated watching this. I'm frustrated. I'm about to... Whew. It's not bad. Yeah, built-in input. No, that's not working at all. Alright, now I can hear you again. So, at least I know how to do that. But they can't. Wait. Oh, wait. Oh, shit. I should have been looking at the chat. Now, you guys could hear Felipe. I don't even know what I did. Oh, fuck. I probably messed it up. Oh, I probably messed it up. I plugged back into the Scarlett. Yeah, it does. What doesn't help if I can't hear you, and they can hear you. No, they're gone. You're gone again. Fuck. Sorry, I can't take out my headphones. If I take out my headphones, I can't hear Felipe. He's gone again. I love it. Amazing. I tried and then I couldn't figure out. I couldn't hear you at all. I couldn't make it so that I could hear you. You know what? All right, let's try. Okay, I'm listening. to you. I don't hear you though.
Okay, I'm not speaking anything. How about
I
now?
don't hear you at all.
Yeah. Did you change on Skype?
Okay, now I hear you, but I had to change my whole sound settings, and I think that's wrong because I think now that I changed my sound settings on the Mac, y'all are going to nope, then nobody's going to be able to hear me. Can you guys still hear me? Yeah, I know you guys could hear me both before, but the problem is you guys could hear me and Felipe. I couldn't hear Felipe. He's back and loud. Okay, wait, say stuff. Okay, let's. Now they said Felipe gone. So I think when I changed, can you guys hear me? Who can you guys hear? Who do you guys hear? I'm confused. I just see yes because there's a lag. I'm so confused. It's because I was arrogant earlier and I was like, I'm so good at the technology. No, I'm not. No, I'm not. I need to pray. I need to like pray and like make sacrifices to the technology gods. They can hear me. They can't hear you. So now that I've got you coming out of it, I changed the sound settings overall, and I changed the Skype settings. So yeah, and I think that's not gonna work. I think it has to run through. Yeah, that should be fine. Um, my speakers are on the thing, our default device. Yeah. All right, let me go to the MIDI, the audio MIDI on my multi-output device. The I have the built-in output selected, and I have the Scarlett, so that should work. If I go into the Skype thing, if I select multi-output, I should hear you. Yeah, I do hear you. Okay, so I think that's probably the better decision. Can you say something?
Right.
There we go. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. And on OBS, how is it set up? Is it capturing which device? Is it capturing Scarlett or the internal interface?
Let's see. Um,
OBS audio settings is awful.
it doesn't even give me that option in my audio output capture. It just tells me. Can you make a sound?
You have what?
Oh, actually, I can hear you now. I can see you making sound on there. So.
You can't hear me.
Oh wait, they say Felipe is back, but now he has an echo. Okay, I think I know why. Okay, we're getting
Oh,
we're getting somewhere.
yeah. Now it's with delay.
Okay, did I fix the echo on Felipe? Can you say something, Felipe?
Hello? Too much echo?
Hey, okay, we got both. I think that's gonna fix the echo.
All right.
I think that I think we're almost we're almost in the home stretch. 30 minutes later.
Papa, can you hear me?
You know what? Charlotte was commented on there, and she was like, "It's not a live stream without a good 25 minutes of technical difficulties. You need to copyright that, or all the voice teachers are gonna do it."
It's good to break the ice.
I apologize, guys. I apologize. I am getting better with the technology, but it's confusing. Like, there's 1,000 settings. No more echo. Still echo, but
All
not
right.
terrible. Oh, well, apparently there is an echo.
Still there is an echo?
Still there is an echo. Maybe it's. Yeah, I don't know why there would be an echo.
Uh,
Yeah, I don't know. I can't figure that. They said don't worry about it. We're not gonna worry about it. All right, so let's get started. I wrote out a couple of questions in the chat about um, to sort of get everybody's in the description. I mean, to get everybody's thoughts sort of like percolating on this whole idea of pulled chest voice. Oh, let me make you bigger on the screen. Hold on, actually.
All right, all right. Can you send me the link so that I can see the chat too? Because I'm not seeing it currently.
Oh yeah. Um,
Papa, can you hear me?
was that? Is that pulled chest?
Oh yeah. Papa, can you hear me? Very powerful.
I think yeah. Okay, I'm gonna send you the link on Skype so you can take a look at the questions.
Okay.
There we go. And that's where you can see the thing, the whole chat and stuff. Yeah, you sound epic. Oh, they think it's just
What?
the natural reverb from the room. I do think you have a little bit of a
There is a bit of reverb.
yeah, slightly, but I can barely even hear it.
Yeah,
Are y'all
I think
really complaining about that? I'm about to end the stream right now. All you get is technical difficulty. Okay. James in the chat. Can you see the chat now, Felipe?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. All right.
Isn't the video the reason you're getting feedback on my audio?
I don't know. I don't even know what that means.
Yeah, well, no matter. Let's get going because otherwise we're gonna spend the whole night in this.
Yeah. Yeah. Very very true. Okay. So, yeah, it's all ready finally. Alrighty. So yeah, pulled chest voice. Felipe and I actually made a video about this. We had we did this twice already. So this is our
Yeah,
third time talking about
we had
this.
a lot of training on it.
Yeah, we had a lot of training because of technical difficulties. So, listen, it ain't just the live streams that I'm struggling this with. Anyway, this is our third, like, gonna be our third hour and a half long conversation about pulling chest voice and what that means. So, yeah. Um, Make sure you guys, if you have questions, write them in the chat, and we'll check in every once in a while. If you want an example of something or you didn't hear something, just let us know. So, um, all right. So, yeah, I guess I'll just start it off and we'll just go back and forth. So, some of the questions I wrote out in the description was, about the health of it. There's whenever somebody's talking about pulling chest voice, it's usually
Mhm.
connotated negatively, so that pulling it is bad. So that's sort of not always, sometimes I don't when I say pulling chest voice, I don't mean it as a bad thing, but a lot of times, I mean, the origin of that whole idea of those two words, pulling chest, coming
Mm.
being together, was a bad thing. It was supposed to be something that you're supposed to avoid in pursuit of mixed voice, which is the more ideal vocal quality or coordination to achieve. You don't want to pull chest voice. That's like the wrong way, the unhealthy way, right? So that is sort of, there with it. So another question we need to think about and talk about and decide is, what is chest voice? What are we pulling? It
Yeah.
may seem like straightforward, but we're actually assuming that word means the same thing to you that it means to me, that it means to everybody else. And when you hear a teacher say chest voice, because you've heard chest used
Mhm.
a bunch of times and you've associated that with your speaking voice, and then you've associated that with certain vocal qualities that you've heard in your singer and certain in favorite singers that you like, or sounds that you hear, now you think that you know what it means, but do you really, right? What does it mean?
Mm. Yeah.
So that's really important to know, because otherwise, we're just going to be going around in circles. Like, what are we talking about? So yeah, we want to talk about the health of it. How do you do it? How do you not do it? What's the difference between pulling chest and mixing? And yeah, I think that
A
covers
lot
it.
of can of worms to
Big,
to.
so many
Okay.
worms.
So talking about the health aspect, yeah, I think there is there is a situation where it could be unhealthy, right? Because if you think of someone that's just started to sing, and has not a very clear idea of how to do stuff, how to approach the middle area of the voice and what they should be doing. They will use whatever they have on their spoken voice. They have a lifetime of habits, right? And that are part of their voices.
Yeah.
And sometimes, because you don't know exactly what those are, if you just try to do that and just go as high as you can, and try to approach it like muscle building, right? You're just gonna stress yourself a lot and then recover, and somehow it will fix itself a given day. Then it's a problem. It can be, I don't know if you're gonna hurt yourself, because to hurt yourself you have to do a lot of abuse, right? It's not just a one-time try thing.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Probably not.
maybe that, yeah, maybe that would not be a very good idea. Just randomly just blasting off your voice and seeing what happens, and forcing it.
Yeah.
But the thing is, there are many meanings that we have to consider. For example, I like to think about it in three different aspects, right? You have the mechanical aspect. The things are moving, they are positioning, they are changing. You have the sound aspect, and then you have sensations. And not always those things will match one on one, right?
Yep.
You may have a mechanical setup that will produce different sounds depending on the area of pitch that you are, and that will feel differently, also depending on how loud you are, or the area of pitch.
Yeah.
And you have sensations that may not produce the same sound.
Yeah.
So you have to always be mindful of exactly what you're talking about.
I think that framework of those three things gives us what we need to define chest voice, number one, and then to talk about pulling it. Those three things. So once again, like, those are really important, but that was like, if you don't understand what he's saying, it can just be like you start getting steam coming out your ears a little bit. So think of it like this. You've got a physical, mechanical component to producing your voice. You have vocal folds, right? That's physical. So what is making, then you have this idea of like sound, right? Sound is, it's not like physical in that same sense. Like we're not touching it. You're not like moving it quite the same way. It's just kind of like this more nebulous general thing. And we use our perception of that sound to form like ideas like, oh, chest voice is this sound. You're not necessarily going off of, maybe you are, right? Maybe you are going off of number one, physical, like, oh, this is happening mechanically, right? And maybe you're using some kind of empirical data and you're saying, well, we know that when, the full body of the vocal folds are vibrating, we're going to say that's chest voice, because we've seen that that's what happens when people call something chest voice. That's always on. So that is what chest voice is. Okay. But maybe then we've got this idea of sound. It needs to sound like chest voice. Doesn't matter if the body isn't vibrating. If it's not matching our sound, then it's not chest voice, right? So then we've got the third one, which was sensation. Well, the order doesn't really matter, but yeah, you've got the sound, how it's sounding to you. You've got your ideas of physical, what it's supposed to be, and then you've got your sensations, and those things aren't going to line up. Something may be having the entire body of the vocal folds vibrating, for example, but not feel like chest voice. It may not feel like it's matching the sensation. So for instance, if I have this has got a certain sensation to it, and has a certain sensation to it. And if I'm trying to say these are both chest voice, those are wide-ranging sensations. It doesn't even make sense for me to call those two things the same thing if I'm just going off of my sensation. Okay, so that's massively important. I just wanted to repeat it in the way that I understand it so that everybody knows, like, that's really important to understand when we're talking about pulling chest voice, because chest voice itself, what it is, defining it, is going to have to do with those three parameters, those three things.
Yeah. You must have. And using the example you just gave, when you use different qualities, the change that you did is within a similar configuration, right? It is still, the body is still engaged, but there are other things changing that are required to produce these sounds.
Mm.
And it starts to get really, really blurry, because if you just say, okay, the body is engaged, and then it's chest voice. If chest voice is just that, then you do is that chest voice? I don't think so.
It certainly
I don't
doesn't
think so.
fit the idea of pulling chest voice, because when
No,
people say that, nobody would say that's pulling chest voice. Like the people
no.
that created the word pulling chest voice, they're not talking about that sound. They're talking about a sound like, hey! They're talking about that kind of sound, like a yell,
Yeah.
not
Something like this, right?
Yeah.
Very raw and more open. But then again, and this thing is also not. I don't think it's unhealthy to do it. And the main problem with pulling that kind of sound, the more open, the more full sound, or a more brute force sound, I don't know how to call it, is that it won't sound very appealing on the high range if you just do it the way that I did, right? There are other techniques that you can use, but it starts to sound really, really, sounds like you're scolding people instead of singing.
Well, you definitely need. I think it varies across genre
Right.
what you need to do with your voice, but you definitely need more than the ability to pull chest, like for sure.
Oh, sure.
Make no mistake. Like you have to be able to do different things. So okay, so one other thing you want to do with that I want to mention that you sort of like that I think we should start with too is, um, when you said basically from the perspective of a beginner trying to like learn to sing higher and expand their range a lot. This isn't every beginner, but it is like the vast majority of beginners. You start out and you're told that your speaking voice, I mean, up until you go to like learn about how to sing, you don't really have an idea of what your speaking voice is. It's just your speaking voice. So then somebody tells you that's chest voice because you feel it vibrate in your chest.
Right.
And then you associate that voice, something about that quality. You start saying, okay, that's my chest voice, right?
Mm.
And then if you're trying to bring that quality higher, you're pulling that thing higher. And so this is where these things go together. And what Felipe was mentioning earlier was like, there's a way to do that as a beginner where you're really, really going to run into trouble. And that's true. And this is important to talk about because there's a right way to do things and a wrong way to do things, basically. And if pulling chest voice, if that as a conceptual idea is only that you, it has to be the wrong way in order for it to be pulled chest, then that's important to talk about. And you will see that. You will see every vocal teacher that demonstrates pulled chest are going to give a horrible demonstration. They're not going to do pulled chest with vibrato. They're not going to make it sound nice. They're going to put on an ugly face. Every vocal teacher, you see them go.
And if possible, like a half a semitone off.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, flat. So if they're
Almost
supposed,
there.
yeah, if they're supposed to do, that's a painful face. Yeah. Oh man, so tired. That's what they're doing. I mean, they're doing it on purpose. They're purposely trying to make it bad. Listen, does this really sound that bad? Does it sound like I'm hurting myself to have that character? No, it sounds fine. It's like a call. When you call out to somebody, when you yell, when you're trying to speak in a way that's getting somebody's attention, it shouldn't hurt you. There's a strange idea, but there are basically where this whole idea comes from is like a wrong way of doing something. There is a wrong way to pull your chest voice, right? Let's just communicate that. But there's also a right way. I don't think we should think about and define pulling chest voice as inherently being the wrong way. Like saying, if it's wrong, you're pulling chest voice. If it's right, you're not. I mean, that's just very, very silly.
Yeah, the main way you can fuck up, right, when you're pulling chest, right, when you're studying chest voice, let's say that you want to study your chest voice, you want to train that. That's good. I think it's part of the basics, right? You should begin there. It's where you will spend probably most of your time singing. You're not going to be singing all high notes all the time. You're going to use a lot of the middle range and mid high.
Yeah.
So what can go wrong? Well, on your demonstration right now, the wrong thing, usually it's that you lack the closure. You don't compress properly and you don't support properly. So what you have is a kind of a forced breathy sound. And that will really won't go very far because it gets really, it's one of the few ways that you can tire your voice very quickly, right?
Yeah.
You're trying to go like, um, something like this, right? It's not going to go very far. And the main concept that you have to
I
understand in
actually
that,
think that sounded pretty good.
yeah, maybe.
I think you gotta. I think you gotta do it worse.
Yeah, I'll try later. Well, but I think that the main idea that we can relate to chest voice, thinking of quality, thinking of sound quality, is the idea of clarity. How clearly you are pronouncing your vowels, you're defining them. A good example that I give is like you pretend you're talking to someone that's kind of deaf, that can't listen very well. So you have to make every word super crystal clear. All vowels get really, really overdone. E. And when you start to focus on that quality, then you start to have a more solid ground to study chest voice, and that's probably what you want to focus when you want to pull chest. Let's call it pull chest. But I don't even think when you get this really really well, it gets very comfortable. I don't. It's very effortful. You're gonna have to work a lot for it because it's very loud, it's very intense, but it's not the idea of pulling. I don't know if it makes really much sense.
I don't think it does. By the way, anybody watching this, please like this video. There's 30 of y'all currently watching and only 15 likes. What the heck? What the heck? Yeah. You guys don't care about the success of my channel?
They don't
like me. Yeah, they want it to fail. They're just here.
Yeah, they don't like you. They like me.
They like you. Yeah, they're only here to watch me flop with the technology. They don't care about the singing. Okay, so I think that obviously part of what pulling chest voice is in this negative derogatory sense is taking there's a couple factors. Pitch. You can't just have like a muddy low sound and you're not going to call it pulling chest. We're talking about a quality of your lower voice, and then you're trying to bring it up in pitch and something goes wrong. That's like the implied necessary ideas in this definition, in this concept of pulling chest, is that you try to go higher and it goes wrong. And not only that, it's loud. It's like trying to go higher with volume. It's loud. It's like trying to go higher and you have a sort of yelly or shouted quality to your voice. It goes wrong, right? And that's basically it, like in a nutshell. So what Felipe is talking about is when he's talking about clarity, and you're talking about like defining your vowels. It's like the solution to not having that problem. Because what he's talking about is a lot of times people are going to try to pull up this lower voice that they have. And remember in the beginning, he mentioned stuff about whatever speech habits you have, that's going to be your chest voice that you pull. So if you have sort of a weaker, more breathier chest voice, it's like this. And then you try to pull this up and get loud with it, it's not going to go well. Volume and breathiness do not mix. They don't mix well. So if you're trying to pull up this kind of... Let me go away from the mic because they're complaining about it. Hey! Ow. So it's not going to go well. Obviously,
Yeah.
like it's cringing. Like we're all cringing when we hear that because we inherently know, some parts of us know, like, ooh, that didn't feel good on your throat. I just know it, right? No, it didn't. So one of the things that you need, if you're gonna work with your chest voice and study it, like Felipe said, how do you pull chest voice correctly? You need to have a clear, very strong, crispy, defined sound. We don't want hey, we want hey, very, very clear. I mean, now, like, people could hear me way across the room. If I shout across like a street with this kind of quality, somebody's gonna hear me. If I add air to my voice, it's not gonna be as loud, and nobody's gonna hear me. I'm gonna sound like Smoker, you know. So,
Yeah.
so you need this clear quality in order to do it successfully. That's a big part of it. All right, I'm gonna shut up now. I'm gonna rest my voice after destroying
I'm
it.
gonna after tearing it to bits. Yeah, more importantly, than not just not being unhealthy, right? It's not just that it doesn't hurt you. It's a kind of a critical aspect to train, because
Mm-hmm.
this idea of clarity
Yeah.
is something that is really really fundamental when you start to work on your mid high range and the higher notes.
Yeah.
If you don't have a good control over this, it's gonna be hell, because you have to control a lot of stuff up there, and if you have to start to think of adding all this stuff on the fly, for the high notes, and you never work this on your low range, or not use it to controlling it, it's gonna be really tough. It's not gonna go well. Not gonna go well. And usually, what is gonna happen is that you try some different things a day, and then it works, and then next day, it's all over the place. You don't know what's going on anymore, and a lot of variation, because of things that are just left uncared for.
Yeah.
So I think that chest voice training is very very important
Yeah.
for everyone. I think that for males, using it up to G4, A4 is a very good, is a very very conservative, approach. It's not that high. It really isn't, and I think it's really important to have that area defined. It okay. I want to sing using my chest voice up to that point. I can do it, no problem. And then you start to work on the other stuff.
So yeah.
It's really the core of your voice. That
So
if you
so
don't,
I agree with you. For the record,
Mhm.
let the record state. I agree. Okay. um, I agree with all that, but we're now getting into the realm of we're making claims here about how the
Let's make claims.
let's make claims. Boom, making them. We're making claims about how what a better way is, what a superior way is to train your voice, what's necessary. And we're actually now taking the position that pulling chest voice is necessary, helpful. It's like imperative. It's crucial. It's critical in order
Yes.
to become a good singer, in order to really know and develop and understand your voice.
Of course, unless you're singing, you just want to sing in choirs and places where you don't really need a lot of body, and you should even avoid it.
Yeah.
But even so, I think it's a good idea to have this kind of control.
I agree.
At the end of the day.
So let's define chest voice before we go on, because if we don't,
Okay.
we're going to be scattered and all over the place. So because we've already said that pulling chest voice is a thing, that there's a bad way to do it, a good way to do it, and that
Mhm.
we think that you should do it. So what are we talking about? Right? Okay, so we got to go back to those three things. I hope y'all remember. About to use some recall in your brain, okay? Three things. The mechanical aspect of it. What are the parts that are moving, that are going into certain positions inside of your body to create the sound, to create the experience, to create your chest voice? There's that part of it. There's the acoustic side of it. There's the sound that we are hearing, that we're perceiving as chest voice. You perceiving me talking right now in my chest voice. That's a sound. You're not perceiving mechanics. You're hearing a sound. Let's get real here. All right. And then you've got your sensation aspect of it. That's individual. That's your body. You're not feeling my voice. I mean, maybe you are. That'd be a pretty cool trick. Y'all should show me how to do that sometime. But you've got your feelings, you've got what you know about the positioning and the mechanics of it, and you've got your the sound, which are going off of the sound quality, that what is chest voice. So those three things, we need to use those to figure out what's chest voice. Okay. Chest voice in this sense of pulling something higher cannot be only mechanical. It can't, right? We sort of talked to that at the beginning, because if you are just saying, yeah, okay, this is the full body of my vocal folds vibrating my speech right now. Even this is the full body of my vocal folds. But if I pull this, it doesn't sound very chesty. Isn't that strange? I thought that
Kind of high.
yeah, if what I thought that chestiness was just the body of the vocal folds vibrating. Okay, so that's called M1. It's called the laryngeal vibratory mechanism. And then when the full body of the vocal folds are vibrating, right? Then we're saying, okay, boom, M1 equals chest. No, it doesn't. No, it doesn't. It doesn't make, I mean, it depends what we want chest voice to be. I mean, these terms are kind of malleable. Nobody's there like with a, like nobody's a word police. Well, actually there are word police people, but most people, we just really, who has the authority to say what the word is, right? So, but at the end of the day, we have to decide something. We have to pick something. If this is my chest voice, and then I'm trying to go higher with it, and this is still M1, that doesn't sound like pulling chest. So.
Oh no!
Yeah, oh no! Yeah, that doesn't sound like pulling chest voice anymore. So it can't just be mechanical. We've got to rule that option out. No, right? If we decided that was pulling chest, everything you do, most of the sounds you're ever going to make when you sing are pulling chest voice. That's not what the people that made pulling chest voice as a word that was a bad thing meant. They did not mean M1. Okay? So it's important to talk about, like, because this whole idea comes from this idea of doing something wrong that you want to avoid. They're not talking about that. So that's silly. We can't define chest voice that way. In this context, anyway. I'm not making a claim about, like, what the best way to define chest voice is, but I'm just saying in this context of pulling chest, that's a different meaning to chest. It's not simply mechanical.
Right. And then we're left with sound and sensation, right?
Yeah.
And the sound, I think there is a very good case to make about the idea of clarity of defining the vowels. Mm-hmm. But I think it's best to show really a transition. If we think, F sharp 4, that passaggio area, you can do that note in a number of different ways, right? If you do it with, let's say, the whole vowel, full vowel, the whole body of your voice in that area, something like this is really open, the vowel is really clear, right? It's very defined.
Yeah.
If you let go a little bit of that clarity, you don't define the vowel so well, you have something else, something that will be called a different register on singing, right? And now the vowels sound different, and it's not that full anymore. It's kind of hollow, right? A little bit hollow. It's not super hollow, like, but it's a bit hollow compared to the other.
It almost sounds like not just one vowel to me. It almost sounds like a mixture of different vowels, or like you have a vowel and then you, like, of color, like you had a vowel is like a distinct color to the voice, and then you just muddied that color up, or you washed it out slightly, or you added and you blurred it up. That's kind of what it sounds like, and how I think of it a bit is like that vowel stopped sounding like an ah and started sounding a bit more like a blend of ah and or ah and right? So
you can even define the vowel more and keep that, but to make the example more clear, I think it's best to keep the transition more wide. And you can think also of the timbre, right, of the voice. When you do the more open quality, it sounds more brassy. I would relate it more to a saxophone, right? and the other one is a little bit more mellow. The quality goes from that. I would compare more to the sound you would expect from a violin or something like that. It's a little bit more mellow, not as uh, how will I say it, aggressive perhaps.
Yeah.
And these are differences that you can understand and can
So, and
and
we're
can
we're
compare,
talking
right?
about category of sound. What is chest
Yeah.
voice? And we're talking about sounds. That this sound of this wide open character, this full sound, this very defined, clear sounding, very loud, very aggressive,
Yes.
maybe very open.
Hmm.
That in CVT they'll say metallic, right? Full
Yes.
density, the edge or overdrive. Now that we're talking about the sound characters defining chest voice that way. That is, in my opinion, probably yours too, because you're a smart guy. That that
Right.
that is an
Leading a little bit, right?
in my opinion, that is what they're talking about when they're talking about pulling chest voice. It's talking about this character. You want your voice not to yank up that bottom lower character into the high
Hmm.
range, right? A yell very much has this character to it. And they're saying avoid that character, right? They're not saying avoid the physical, mechanical, not M1, the whole body and length of the vocal folds are vibrating. No, they're not saying that. They're saying to avoid the specific sound character. It's all about sound. Singing training is all about sounds. Like massive majority of it is just what's this sound? What do we call this sound? It's all about the sound and our perception of the sound.
Yeah. It just so happens that to keep when you start to go up and you want to keep that kind of quality, that more open, brassy quality, clear quality, you have to do certain mechanical adjustments
Yeah.
to keep it together. And it's something really good to train. It's a coordination that you have to develop, right?
Yeah.
It's good for you to build that.
Yeah.
On the context of the people that say that you should not pull it, or that you should transition in that area, that comes a lot from classical training, right? My background is classical, and there is a little confusion in there, because if you look, there is that video from Pavarotti, right? Where he goes, the suspect strain, huh? Yeah.
Wait, I want to pull that up. Because I bet it's
uh,
I said I would on this stream. I would pull
yeah,
up the examples and see if I get demonetized. So let's see if it happens.
yeah, but basically what he's doing is like demonstrating versus right, and doing that transition in that area,
Yeah.
and that's the same thing that I learned. But I think that one critical part of it that people miss when they are looking at that is that before I learned to do this, my teacher made me do like up to the A4 or so on the open quality. It was part of the training. That it wasn't just that transition right away,
Right.
and perhaps seeing that video may give the wrong impression that you're not supposed to ever do those types of sound. Pavarotti could do it. He showed it, and
That's true.
so
And the people that are saying pull chest voice, don't pull chest voice, are coming from almost like the majority of them are coming from speech level singing, which is SLS, right? Which
mhm.
if you see anybody call Singing Success, Brett Manning, Tyler Weissong, I'm just gonna drop these vocal coach names that you guys have come across: Carl Wedden, Phil Mafurage, um, Seth Riggs. It's Seth Riggs' baby. Seth Riggs is speech level singing. Um,
Yeah.
it sort of, and it's massive. Chuck Gilmore from Power to Sing. So many of the coaches that you've seen say things about singing, including pulling chest voice, come from like the same source. The same source saying this is not what you should do. Seth Riggs himself, who's the guy saying don't pull chest, do this instead, mix, go into your head voice. Okay. I gotta pull that up too. But that, um, it's all coming from the same source, and he is always talking about Pavarotti. The guy that, helped make it up and spread this idea of pulling chest voice is saying Pavarotti knew how to not pull chest voice. He's saying that this covered thing, spreading, right? Covering, that's not pulling chest. Or not pulling chest. Pulling chest. And so he's saying, look at Pavarotti's doing it. That's what I'm talking about. Don't do that. And then Pavarotti's saying, oh, you suspect a strangle when I do the open way. So let me pull that quality up, that clip up real quick. But keep talking. You want to keep talking? You can keep talking.
Yeah. One thing that I would also mention is that when you use Pavarotti as an example of everything, is like, he's an exceptional person, right? It's one in billions and billions of people, and you can't really use it as a parameter to evaluate everyone. And more importantly, the sound quality that you expect from a tenor is also important, right? That's also part of what he's saying, in that you can't really go singing areas like how does it go? Listen, Dharma. Imagine a tenor doing like I don't think it would make a very good, performance.
Yeah.
I would like it, probably.
Yeah, it doesn't stylistically
it's not
fit.
really what you expect to hear from a tenor. Is not the quality they're supposed to do.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
It's not that.
So basically what you're saying is the idea of pulling chest voice came from protecting a stylistic desire from classical singing. And if you don't switch and lose that lower open character that we talked about, that sound, again, we're talking about chest voice being this sound, this quality, right? Not mechanics, not the M1. Okay, we're not talking about that. If you don't cover it, you're not going to get the right sound for classical, and that's true. If you pull chest voice in this way, you're not getting the right classical sound. Tenors don't sound like they're yelling. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They don't sound like that.
But more than that, although they don't use that more open quality to sing most of the time, it's not that they would never do it. It's part of their training to also work on their chest voice up. And I think the problem is that you take something that's more complex than just do this or don't do it, and dumb it down to a concept like, okay, above that point you're gonna always sing like this, and there you have it. Let's put a label on it, and that's how people are supposed to sing. It's really not what most of these singers train to achieve what they achieve, especially guys like Pavarotti or the big names like Giggly, or I don't know, famous tenors. I really don't think you can dumb their training, the preparation down to transition on a note, and that's it.
I agree. Okay, wait. So I want to play that Pavarotti clip.
Oh yeah,
so y'all can hear it, because this is gold, guys. We love this. Boom. There we go. All right, should be displaying correctly. So here we go. I hope y'all can hear that. I'm gonna be sad if you guys can't hear it, and if the audio's not working, I'm not messing with it. Okay, that doesn't even make any sense. Okay, so there, Pavarotti, we've got it from the cat's mouth. Okay, he's saying it's about the sound quality. The open way is sounding strangled, and the other way sounds noble. And if you're singing, you want to
Yeah,
sound noble. It's about classical singing. It's not about what's healthy. It's about their
yeah.
sound desire. Well, people are conflating it.
Yeah, and I could not listen to the audio because it's routing to your computer, but
Oh no.
I remember the video, and I remember he says that you could be a very, very good singer if you do that. You're just not an area tenor. Isn't that what he says? Probably
Oh,
later on.
you know what? Hold on.
Yeah, yeah.
I think I have an idea. If they can't see it, which I'm gonna let's see.
No, you don't have to route the audio.
No,
It's okay.
I can, and I think that'll let them see it because your audio they can hear you. So if I screen share the video, they should be able to hear it.
Oh, yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
let me.
Makes sense. They couldn't.
No, I don't think so. So let me just turn the display capture off, and let's try this a different way. Screen share screen. You should hear the audio through a screen share. Can you see the screen, Felipe?
Yes, I can.
You can see my screen?
Yes.
Well, they're not seeing the video. How do you see my screen but they don't see it?
Well, I see your screen, but I don't see the video either. I'm seeing like a graph.
Interesting. Cause they can't see that. They don't see my screen. Maybe they'll hear it. All right. Let's see. Do you hear it, Felipe? Do you see it?
No, no audio,
You don't see.
just video.
Oh, no audio. All right, never mind. I give up. It's taking too long. All right, I tried.
Yeah.
How do I
Anyways.
stop sharing? There we go. Yeah. Anyway,
I
Pavarotti's
can
there.
check the video later. I saw this like hundreds of times already, and I kind of know it by heart already. And but yeah, later on he says, well, you can be a very good singer and do the open quality, but to sing areas as a tenor, you need to do this,
Yeah.
the covered sound.
Yeah.
And of course, he adds a lot of stuff like the vocal folds are rest, and that it's not quite accurate. But yeah, it is not really saying that you're gonna die if you use the open sound.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, he does say it's not a tenor sound. He's like, if you don't cover, you're not a tenor. He's talking about classical and the sound. So,
Mhm.
yeah, that's where it comes from. It comes from this idea, pretty much, of protecting this, sound design, basically designing the sound a certain way, designing your voice to sound a certain way, and in SLS, speech level singing, it's supposed to be contemporary, but they're really afraid of opening the chest voice. But there you have Pavarotti doing it, and in the example, if y'all look at this uncovered sound, right, when he's doing it, this yell, this open sound, this pulling the chest voice, not covering, not going into your head voice or your mix or whatever. My brain farted, but it's basically just a style thing, and it's not unhealthy.
Yeah. Another thing with the way people present this idea that you should not pull chest and use mixed voice is because it's an attractive solution, right? Because often when you start singing, you find that it's very hard to sing on the middle area. It's like when you start to approach D4, E4, things start to get really, really difficult, and you start to wonder, well, what the hell am I supposed to do in here?
Yeah.
If I try to continue with my normal voice, it just goes to hell very quickly, and I can't control it.
Yeah.
And then there is this guy saying, okay, you don't really have to use your normal voice. There is this other thing that you do.
Yeah.
And then all your problems are solved.
Yep.
And so it's a very attractive solution. It's kind of logical if you think of it. It's just that the problem is more complex than just, reaching those notes. And when you start to really use the solution to sing, then the problems start to pop up.
Yeah. So that's pulling chest voice, is maintaining this lower character. That's as far as I think we're going to get with our definition, is that basically it's about that sound quality staying open. And it sounds like we can do some different demonstrations, but It's very similar to in CBT if we're doing overdrive. Every example that we'll find on the internet of a teacher demonstrating pulling chest is going into overdrive, is trying to yank up overdrive, but doing it in a terrible way. Well, what CBT refers to as overdrive, which is this kind of yelly, shouted sound, right? And if you twang too much, you're going to lose that character of the voice, which is why it's not too much associated with super twangy sounds. Pulling chest voice a lot of times is they do it in this dulled, blunted off way, and if they were to twang, that would give them a little bit more control over their voice, and so the example wouldn't sound that good. Hey, we need to make that sound flat and dull and painful. Hey, if I do a with a lot of clarity, a, and I have like a very strong sound there. It's very bright. There's a lot of twang. It doesn't sound as bad anymore. So that's not going to be my demo of pulled chest. I would consider both of those things pulled chest, though. The twangy way and the overdrive way.
Yeah. I mean, basing stuff on wrong demonstrations is a problem. It's very hard to come to any sort of conclusion, but I would agree that pulling chest is about the more open qualities, and there are lots of techniques that can achieve that. There's not just one way to do it, but the more general understanding and the way that I believe that other people will also understand it as pulling chest would be more brassy, more open quality on that mid-high area when you start to approach that,
Yeah, it almost sounds to me like you're saying breathy, but you're saying brassy, right?
Brassy, yes, brass.
I almost heard I'm hearing like breathy. I'm like breathy.
Breathy. No.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. Hey. Smoker. The smoker's back.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes, Adrianus 95. The twangy way is the edge vocal mode. Okay, so we've defined it a little bit, and we've talked about a lot of things that have to do with how you do it and don't do it. So let's talk about like how do you pull your chest voice. We talked a lot about this idea of clarity, keeping a very clear, strong, loud sound. That's imperative to pulling your chest voice in the correct way, in a way that's going to feel good. Okay, strong, clear, loud sound. Boom, we got that. Number 2, you must open your mouth more and more the higher you go. If you don't open your mouth and create a wider opening here, the higher you go, you are not going to pull chest. That's it. Like, that's a hard rule. Everybody is subject to that rule. You will not pull chest if you don't open your mouth. That's it. You have to open your mouth. Really important. You also, I would say, you can't open your mouth too much. There's a way where you can kind of overshoot and miss it. So I'll show you guys. So if I'm doing let's see, okay, it's working okay. I'm like really opening at a really low note too. Okay. Let's see how that strategy plays out. Okay, I got an E. You suspect a strangle,
Suspect a strangle.
Now it's starting to get kind of uncomfortable. There's a way where you can really do it wrong and over open, I would say. So, and let's keep going. I don't think I'm going to be able to do it much more. Okay. So, I'm going to do the opposite. I'm going to close too much. I'm not going to open my mouth as I go up, but I'm still going to try to keep the clear, strong quality and the volume of my voice. So, let me go back. Already there's a shift. This is D4. Okay, let me go a little lower. What is this? Blasphemy. Ah. There we go. That's pretty much the same quality of voice. Ah. Ah. But I'm not moving my mouth at all, so I'm going to keep my mouth really, really stable. Ah. Okay. Let me go back to where I was. Ah. There's a little bit of a vowel difference. Ah. You know, it starts to become a little bit of like a instead of a ah. So that thing we were talking about the vowel being very defined as ah, I'm starting to lose it. Okay, let's keep going. Experiment. Continuing. Ah. No, I'm starting to get that covered sound. I'm starting to sound like I'm not pulling my chest voice. Remember, the pulling chest voice is all about the sound. I'm losing that lower sound, and I'm taking on a different character in my voice. Where am I? I'm not moving my mouth. The fact that I'm not moving my mouth is like the crucial reason why I'm not getting the same character of my lower voice to extend upward. So let me open my mouth. Oh, there it is.
Yeah. Yeah, and, you know, that's one of the reasons why it's important to train the open quality first, because what you just did is a very good way to find the other qualities that you can do. Because if you can do it open, and then you just don't open the mouth so much, you're gonna the transition is gonna happen.
Yeah.
And it's much easier to study it like this than to just trying to, you know, find the quality so that you can actually sing the note.
Yes.
And that's going to be hell.
Yes, we are on total agreement here. So one of the first things I do with my students is I get them to figure out like just how to yell, you know? Oh my God. Oh my God. The vocal coaches out there, they're trembling. They're quaking. What? We work on yelling?
Go loud.
We work on yelling? That's so unhealthy. For your voice, never yell, okay? Always mix it. I heard that in a college class. I took a singing college class, and she said, Adina Menzel, the teacher was like, Adina Menzel was, you know, she was such a great singer, and look what happened to her voice. That's from pulling chest. Said, always mix it, never pull chest. Always mix it.
Yeah.
And meanwhile, I don't even, I'm not gonna, I can't get too much into it. I'm gonna get triggered. All right, but listen. So, Felipe didn't move his mouth. I didn't move my mouth. And yet the vowel quality is changing, right? There's a sound in our voice, right? Which it's about a vowel, really, because we associate certain sounds, certain acoustic things, certain qualities with a vowel. Ah is a vowel, but it's also like a sound. You got me? So a vowel is just us trying to say, oh, in language, we have these specific sounds that we use to shape our words. And when we sing a lot, because we're singing words, we're singing our language, we're using our voice to match that kind of sound. The vowel sound is changing. When you don't keep opening your mouth on an ah, it's going to start to change to an Can you do your demonstration again?
Sure. You want open or closed?
Closed. Yeah.
I'll begin open first. So so you see the lower note fits better, some more open, and the higher one, because the position is the same.
Yeah.
There are other things that happens too. But the main thing is, as you rise the pitch, if you don't follow with the resonances, the vowel quality will change, because the structure of the voice will not follow. You know, you're keeping the position steady and the pitch is rising.
Yeah.
And also for very intense sounds, you need more opening to transfer all that energy out. Let's say that.
So this is called,
not quite like that, but it's also an important thing that happens on the physical.
This is called passive vowel modification. What we're doing, what we're talking about. If you don't open your mouth and you go higher, your vowel is going to change. The quality will change. That's bizarre, because if you think about it logically, like you would think, what is a vowel? A vowel is my mouth and my vocal tract, my tongue, my lips being in a certain position. What's the difference between E and oo? Try it. E, oo, E, lips are moving a little bit and the tongue is moving a little bit, right? Those are the main things that we feel. That's creating this different sound. You would think if I want to do a vowel in the low range, I just make my tongue and lips in a certain position. And then if I want to do that vowel in the high range, I just keep that position, but I just go up, right? Wrong. Wrong. No, no, no. That's the crazy thing about singing. That's like that piece of information that's how your vowels and sound works is it's not stable. The higher you go, the more you have to figure out, oh, to keep actually the same quality or vowel in the low range, I have to do different things with my body to keep it. No, you don't get to keep ah, ah, ah. Why does it start to sound a little bit more like now? I'm keeping the same position as and like an octave down, right?
Yeah,
So
that's a very good concept in there. There is a antagonism in here. If you want to keep the same sound quality, you have to change positions. If you want to keep the same position, you have to change the sound quality.
Yep.
You can't get both ways.
Yep.
And that's a very good rule to remember,
Yep.
when you're trying to do stuff, because sometimes as I said, the logical thing, the intuitive thing, you would think is I keep everything the same, so everything is going to be the same as I go up, and that's not really the case. It doesn't really work that way.
Yeah. So we've talked about what it is. It's pulling the sound quality upwards, and now we're talking about how you do it. How do you pull the chest voice upward? What's required? We've talked about the clarity. This very loud, clear sound. You can't take a quiet sound and try to pull that upward. It's first of all, it's not even the chest voice we're talking about. This, if this is your chest voice that you're pulling, no. It's never gonna sound like pulling chest. It's not gonna work, right? We have to start with something very loud, very full, and that a very defined sounding vowel. Doesn't have a very clear sound to it. There we go. Now we're talking. So we got to have that. And then to pull that quality higher, you must change the position of your mouth, of your vocal tract, as the pitch goes up. This is going to start happening at like B3, C4 for most men. And for girls,
D4,
yeah,
E4.
like D4, E4. Yeah, that's right. So right around there, just like about a minor third higher. So that's when you're going to start to feel like, oh, yeah, if I keep my vocal tract stable and I don't move anything and I try to bring this quality higher, the quality will change. That's the entire idea of pulling chest voice, guys. Like if you take anything away, it's those two things, right? If you want to pull chest voice, you must find the correct shapes as you keep going higher. Right? You must progressively open your mouth more and more. Not too much. The opening that you need to pull chest voice up to an A, is not going to be the same opening that you need to pull it up to an F. They're going to be different. There's a more open shape is going to work better for the A, and a more closed shape is going to work for F. I think of this as like progressive opening. You need to progressively open your mouth more and more and more.
Yeah, another point that I think it's important to add in this list is that we talked about the clarity needs to be very clear, and the positions need to change so that you keep that the vowel quality the same as you continue up. You keep opening more, but also the intensity is going to change. If you want to keep the same quality, if you want to pull chest or carry that chest quality higher, whatever intensity you begin, you're going to have to increase it progressively.
Yeah.
And when you get to the G4, A4, it's really, really loud, like annoyingly loud. It's going to be like a huge yell, when you get to that area.
Yeah.
If you're bringing it up like that. Doesn't mean that you always have to be like that. There are many things you can do in that area and reduce the clarity a little bit, change how much metal you're using, etc. Use different vowels. But for this kind of training to expand the chest voice range, open voice quality range, the intensity is gonna go up. And if you don't let the intensity rise, it's easier to hurt yourself than if you do.
I agree,
It's one of the ways
and we should
it's kind of a protective measure.
yeah, we should talk about that because one of the things that I mentioned in the description is it healthy? There's a way to do it wrong, and that's what you were just talking about. And thank you also for mentioning the intensity, like the volume. I thought I had gotten it with my two elements, but no, that part's really, really important to keep the lower quality of your voice, the chest voice. You can't do that if you let the volume stay the same. What? That's crazy. Why can't we just do that higher? It just, I don't know. It just doesn't work like that. Physics. Okay, science. What? Gravity. Why can't I fly? That's the kind of question you're asking. So, basically, you have to get louder, like Felipe said. You just have to. You have to get louder in order to preserve that quality and that sound of vowel. And your sensations are going to start to change. It's going to feel like a yell if you do it this open way, depending on the vowel. Okay, so the other thing you said was...
right now?
Yeah, the second part. I sort of reversed that. I meant to talk about that one first, but now I brain farted. Yeah, right now, like the last thing you were talking about.
Yeah. I was saying that it was you had to keep the clarity, the vowel shapes. You have to adjust them progressively and open more, as you said.
Oh, damage.
Yes.
Damage.
And what?
Damage. You're talking about damage, hurting yourself. How do you hurt yourself? Right?
Oh,
In point chest. So
how you hurt yourself.
yeah,
So
yeah.
all right. So there is a lot of misinformation in this on the internet, and usually people tie it to qualities, right? If you do a very open sound, and you're gonna die. If, yeah. If the vowel is if you splat your vowels, there is a splatting vowels. I don't know if the vowels are splatted.
Don't let the larynx raise. Oh my god.
If the larynx rise, you're gonna die.
Yeah.
And many ways to die a painful death, painful vocal death. And it's not quite like that. Like, for starters, whenever we are speaking, right now when I talk to you, the vocal folds needs to open and close very, very fast to produce the sound. I'm singing even more because we're singing on higher pitches, and the higher the pitch, the faster they will do it. And every time they open and close, there is a little bit of damage that happens. It's, there is no way to avoid it. It's like if you do a lip bubble, like when your lips are doing this, the tissue is coming in contact many times. If you do it long enough, you're gonna bruise your lips.
Like clapping. Like if you clap all day, y'all don't think your hands will hurt?
Eventually, they will hurt.
Yeah.
And, of course, things are not that simple, but every time you speak, damage is building up. Then when you sleep, on the end of the day, you take you rest, you recover. The vocal folds work like that. Your body is used to that. It's part of how you deal with your voice.
Yeah.
You don't feel the damage. It's not like you're gonna, I just bruised my vocal folds a little bit while I spoke, so I have to rest. No, you don't feel this damage. It's natural. It's normal for you. When we are singing, the demand is higher. So, you're singing higher pitches, higher volumes. So the pressure is higher. The contact force may be higher. But that's not necessarily true. And only very specific situations will produce such a force that will harm you instantly. And usually it's bad luck. Like like when you're running and you fall and you fuck up your ankle or something like that. This kind of injury. And there isn't a single quality that will produce immediate damage like this, and it's really complex to evaluate that, because when you're using fuller qualities, like when you're on full chest voice, you may think, okay, so the force is higher and the damage must be higher too. But now, because you're using more of the vocal folds to produce the sound, the force that's being applied is distributed over a larger area. So the damage is not that big anymore on any specific point. And, you may very well use a light voice and do the exact opposite and hurt yourself much faster doing it. So there isn't a way to, relate sound to damage like that. It's really the best way you can manage that is sensation. Do you feel okay? Do you feel comfortable? Are you okay? Is your voice, if you practice in your horse, and probably something is going wrong. If you practice and your voice is fine, then okay,
Yeah.
just
Yeah. Proof, basically. And the evidence is like when you practice, does the condition of your voice deteriorate? Somebody in the comments was saying that um, to pull chest the way you are doing, we need to use more twang. My main problem in overdrive is that I increase the volume too much and I get tired fast. It's a bit of a hit and miss. So that's actually, an example of that. You can't. It's not that the volume is too high. It's that you're doing it wrong. Yeah, you do need more twang. You basically need more of that clarity to your sound. What I suspect is happening with your overdrive is it's starting to get a little bit dull sounding, a little muddy sounding. You're not having a very clear sound to your voice. You're probably starting to mix and push air, more air than your vocal folds want to vibrate with in this configuration at that pitch. So your overdrive will start to sound, like hoarse. Hey, hey. You guys can hear that? It doesn't have the clarity. It's kind of got a little bit of a husk to it. Hey. Right. Hey, hey, hey. Oh, I'm blasting the ears off. Whoops. Hey, it's got a really clear quality to it, right? Oh, it doesn't have a hoarse huskiness to it. So I suspect that's probably happening, and that's why that is definitely one of the things that goes wrong. It's just like Felipe mentioned in the beginning. A lot of times beginners will try to bring that lower quality up, and that's what will happen. You'll go, oh, and you're forcing too much air. You don't need that much air. Your vocal folds need to resist that air better, and you may actually be using the wrong shape. So I think one of the biggest things is over opening that I see a lot of beginners do. Like they miss this sort of like sweet spot of how much you open and how you form the vowel. So, right, that's what I did in the beginning. If I go, I can't maintain control of my voice that way. There's no way. I have to keep it a little bit more closed, or I have to twang more. And I have choices, but the better thing for me to do would be, and now I've still got this kind of like weighty, yelly sound, but for me, yeah, over opening is big. So you gotta find the sweet spot with the vowel.
Yeah, and maybe check the positions for I think on CVT overdrive. It really depends on the bite, right? If you lose that, it's gonna be really bad for you. Like if you go, it's easier to do. That position probably will fix if the problem is losing twang or something like that.
I think that would definitely
supposed to take care of.
I think that would definitely help. The other thing too about the bite is that it's gonna make you have a sort of minimum amount of opening in your mouth and distance between your molars. Like if you go to bite something, your mouth is gonna be open. And if you go to bite something, usually when we bite something, it's not like, that's not the bite. That's like too much opening. Hey, that's a little too much. We want something like, like a normal bite. Hey, and now that's putting my voice, that's making me find the vowel and the position that's going to allow me to maintain that lower quality. Hey, 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 right? If I have, hey, 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 you can just hear like I can't maintain control over my voice that way. The same way. The easier position is this bite.
All right. What's next on the?
I think that I don't know. I think that's. I don't know. Let's look at some of the questions that they have.
Oh, sure.
So let's bring it to the audience. What questions do you guys have? What did we talk about that was a little bit confusing that you don't understand? What do you want us to elaborate on? Do you get it? Do you get the idea of like what pulling chest is and what pulling chest isn't, and how you do both of those options? I guess to waste time, one of the things I want to talk about is that I brain farted because I saw a question about an E vowel.
But
All right, whatever. I'm just gonna go to that question. So
belting on closed vowels, is that it?
yeah,
Was
belting
that?
on closed vowels. Yeah. So he says, can you demonstrate? I'm assuming his sex here. Can you demonstrate your? I'm gonna get canceled. Can you demonstrate your idea of pulling chest on the E vowel, please? You can't. You can't pull chest on the E vowel. That's like there's only certain vowels sounds that you can pull chest on. If I try to do E or oo or even right, or o, these more right, these ones are going to be really hard. They're going to naturally start to lose that character. So if I go into it with a shape that doesn't work for pulling chest voice, I won't pull chest voice. So let's try it on E. E, 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 E. I don't have that hey quality. Good luck on an E. Hey! It starts.
Yeah,
it just doesn't sound like it. It doesn't sound like a yell. It doesn't have that timbre.
No, yeah, it will not sound yellowed, and we'll lose the brassy quality. Then, there may be some nitpicking to do because some people might define it as chest voice instead of the brassy open quality.
Yes, they'll go with the mechanics.
Oh no, not just mechanics, but perhaps sounding heavy.
Okay.
Keeping heaviness.
Having an element of the lower part.
Can do somehow, but I don't think it's then it starts to be like a really smaller difference of opinion in this. That I don't think it matters. You can do both,
You can, but not only.
Of course, the brassy quality won't work.
Not only that, but what's the difference between the quality of the yell or the call sound or the pooled chest voice sound on an A4 and an E? Because they don't have the same quality. And nobody really is thinking of an E as that pulled chest voice quality. It doesn't sound like a yell. Nobody says, hey! Stop that guy!
Hey, you, come here!
Yeah.
No!
They don't.
Most people don't.
The vowels are not narrow. They're not closed. You don't hear E. You hear, hey! Stop that guy! It's like very open and yelled. Oh, I'm destroying them with my mic. I'm sorry. I keep forgetting. But if we go from open sound to an E, to any closed sound, to E, for example, or O to oo, and I just close my mouth, I won't pull chest anymore. I will mix, right? I will lose that quality, definitely. So I'll do it on O to oo. Oh! Oh! I can't keep it. I can't keep that yell quality, that feeling, or that sound in my voice. But is it both mechanically, the vocal folds vibrating along the whole body and the full length of it's vibrating? Yeah. But that's not this idea of chest voice.
Yeah. And there are certain approaches that you can use that are alternative to it. Like someone mentioned the edge mode. That works on some closed vowels.
Yeah.
I would argue that it's not that. We will not fit the same idea that we have in here, the openness and brassiness, and it will lose some of the weight too.
I think so
but,
too. I
think it's another thing you can do and sounds really strong.
Yeah, I agree. I think because so in CVT there's this mode called edge, and edge has not just open vowels. We're talking about like an open sound, this yell sound, and this is pulling chest. Well, if I said earlier I claimed that edge is equivalent to pulling chest, well, I lied. Okay, certain variations of edge are equivalent to pulling chest. Only the open ones. If you make that sound too closed, if you make the sound more closed, like E or I, you're gonna start to drop the metal and the density. And any example that I've ever heard any CVT person use when they say this is full density edge on an E, it doesn't carry the same wallop. It doesn't carry. Yeah. E. It doesn't have the same intensity that an will. If I try like my hardest, and I'm not saying that you can't get better at this or that you can't like get an E to be strong. I just think that my bias is that E will never have the same intensity as an E. If you're going for like max, I don't think that E is going to convey that same intensity and strength. And I don't think that the metallic quality will be quite as high if I do E. Even if I really move my body, the positions, into as good of a shape as I possibly can. So for example, if I have a closed E, Like I have this kind of thing. E, E, E. This is E, but you can see my whole shape. My mouth is more closed. That shape is horrible for adding more metal and weight to my voice. Awful. I can't do it. So how do I make my E stronger and more like my A? Well, I can copy the position. A, E, A, E. So I'm moving closer to it, right? It's got a bit more weight, but still not as much as the E. That's, that's where I stand on that. But maybe that's just because I suck. I don't know. So basically,
you're joking, but we always have to consider that maybe we're not just good enough to do it.
Yeah, that's true. That's
the
true.
possibility exists for sure.
Yeah, I do admit that. I do think that it's important. I'm joking about that. Yeah, it's true. Like I do think that you have to leave a little bit of wiggle room, like, oh, maybe it is possible, but I just haven't figured it out or something. So maybe it is possible to do that on E, but you can see.
Although I don't think it's gonna happen.
We got another naysayer. I said we got another naysayer. Do you agree with me? Okay, so the thing is too, even if E is possible, the E has to be more like the E. Your vocal tract needs to shape more in this more open direction. Like, so even if it's E, E, it can't be a closed E. E, good luck. Getting a strong character on that kind of sound. It's got to match what you do on the shapes that make the maximum metal or the maximum chesty sound. You've got to move your voice in the positions into that direction.
Yeah. Even if you compare the qualities, when you produce both versions, what you're gonna have is a little bit more twang on the edge version of it, right? The quality will be very similar on both the curbing and the edge E. But anyways, is there any questions?
Let's take a look. Are you seeing the chat?
No, I closed it because there was like 5 screens of.
Oh, okay. So let's see. Somebody said I can sing throughout my range in this grandpa / operatic voice, and a lot of compression as though I'm lifting something heavy. Yeah. You actually did it in one of your videos about practicing. What is that? I call it grandpa voice. My friend, the last guy that was on here in my last live stream, Tony, calls it hyper compression or grandpa voice. I think it's extreme false vocal fold approximation, and I think that we don't allow, like, it's, basically the false vocal folds, which say, oh, you know what? I can, hold on. I have a picture of the vocal tract right here. Boom. Ooh, look at that. If this isn't a top tier, top quality live stream, I don't know what is. That's amazing. Okay, so right here, y'all can see the vocal folds, right? So you can see that, and y'all, that, there's true vocal folds in the middle and then false vocal folds, right? And so that tissue, there's basically tissue. Here's your vocal folds coming together. Right above them is more tissue. When you go, they're not, like, the false vocal folds are at a distance. They're at a location apart from each other because there's 2 on either side right above your vocal folds here. And when you go, you bring them really close together, basically. So that's what I think the grandpa voice is, the hyper compression. That is not
something like this.
Yeah, that's not the way to pull your chest voice. I wouldn't even call that pulling chest voice, actually. I would say that's like a weird.
Yeah,
it's like a fake chest voice.
Heavy quality. You can get a heavy quality, right, on a high range. So then it starts to be like a matter of how you want to define it.
Yeah.
Specifically. It won't open like what we're talking about right now.
I think that right. It won't open. If you do the grandpa voice, your voice will close. So what are we talking about? We're talking about that acoustic thing that's happening in the sound when we go. When we go. You can hear the sound isn't opening. It's staying open. It's getting more narrow. More of a closed in sound. The vowel is starting to change in its quality. Okay. So, when we do grandpa voice, it's like a guarantee to close. Ah! Why does grandpa voice, for example, always sound like an Can you make an A sound on grandpa? No, you can't. You can't. It just doesn't work. A. It doesn't sound like A. It doesn't have that open quality. It has a closed-in, muffled quality. That's the wrong thing to do. To get, because again, remember, you want to pull chest, you got to have that open sound, that open character to your voice. You must open your mouth more as you go higher, right? And you must maintain clarity. We can't, and you got to get louder. You got to increase intensity. You can't increase the intensity in the grandpa. Yeah, it'll go higher, but it's not loud. That's not loud at all. It's like a fake pulling chest. Hey! It actually reminds me of Ken Tamplin. Shading is
a little bit.
Yeah, I'm shading. Yeah.
Yeah.
He had one guitar.
There is a question in here about the NG consonant. Does it make you cover? That's the question. I would say that the idea on the exercise, yes, is to go to covering and to find a way to do mixed voice.
Yeah.
But again, it depends a lot on how you do it, because one of the things that NG tends to make people do is to lower the larynx, keep the larynx really low, instead of allowing it to elevate for the high notes. And if you don't allow that elevation to happen, then you're going to have a problem. So I would say if you take your time to position the tongue first for the exercise, it may give you a better idea of how to do it. And I would also recommend to work on the chest voice first.
I agree.
To open first, because what it tends to happen is something like, and then you don't have anywhere to go, and you're gonna be like, well, what the hell is this?
Not only that, but so you can do in a cover. Yes, it's true. It's possible, but it's also possible to do the another way. You can just lighten. You could go to falsetto.
Oh, yeah.
You could go to you could go to M2, or you could lighten the intensity. So remember that part of getting that chest voice sound is you have to have these certain vocal characteristics. If what is a cover is another vocal characteristic, it implies loud sounds, loud, strong sounds. Yeah. If you're backing off the intensity as you go, that's not a cover. I don't have the same yelling chest voice. That doesn't automatically mean cover. But if I do keep the intensity to my voice, I do try to keep that clarity to my voice, right? Then yes. And I do the without going to falsetto. If I'm successful, yeah, basically it's going to be a lot like a cover. It's going to be a lot like the sensations. And I think in the cover, a lot of times what is happening is actually the vocal folds are stretching more. And in CVT, basically you're reducing density. At a given pitch, the vocal folds stretch more. So they're like longer or thinner. And so on an that's going to happen. Even if you keep a lot of weight to it, like it's like I'm trying to keep as much as I can, as loud as my can be. It's still going to be a lot more stretched than hey, but it's going to be more close to this more covered sound. So it'll be closer to that.
Yeah. The idea of the exercise is to really, allow you a way to dampen all that intensity from your normal open voice, and try to figure out a way to use your voice in a reduced way, as Greg said. And as you said, always work with the idea of a lot of intensity on the exercise. Think of it like a limiter. Like it's gonna be a guarantee that you're not opening past the covering point. You can't really yell using that position. Yeah. That's and also the position of the tongue. That position is also useful if you want to cover something. The back of the tongue needs to elevate a little bit, and that the energy exercise will bring you in that direction. Yeah. Then again, if you don't really find it very easy to do, don't worry too much. Do some other stuff. It's not. You don't really need to be a master of the NG to
Yeah,
sing cover.
you don't. But basically, there is an idea here. And so what you have to remember is, what do you need to pull chest? Opening your mouth more. If you don't open your mouth more, but you keep the intensity, yeah, you are guaranteed to basically like cover. If we're gonna call cover, we haven't talked about what covering is, right? But
All right.
but basically, if you are able to keep the intensity to your voice, keep the clarity, right? Well, I should say increase the intensity to your voice actually, and you're not flipping to falsetto, and you don't keep opening the vowel more wide the higher you go, then you are going to mix. That's the difference. That's like this acoustic sound. The difference between mixing and pulling chest. Already, I'm gearing myself to go to more of this mixy sound. This if that's what a mix is, right? I'm gearing myself to go towards that when I don't open like I'm doing the pulled chest thing. So any closed variant will work. They're called SOVTEs. Anything where your mouth is more closed and the vocal tract is getting more occluded is going to push you away from pulling chest and more towards a mix. So we had some more questions.
Yeah.
We got a paid one. Yay.
Whoa.
Thank you, Gamakichi.
Naruto fan.
Yes. What do you do to recover from vocal nodules, minor ones? I think I'm not a doctor, but there's let me just say that. But I think you can only recover so much from a vocal injury within a certain time period, and then you also need to do rehabilitating exercises. So what I would say is I would probably take 3 days or upwards of 3 days, depending on how fast my body is able to recover and what I sense out of it. If let's say you do take 3 days, but you only sleep 5 hours a night and you're very, very stressed, your body's not going to heal as effectively. But let's say you get wonderful sleep, you're very relaxed, you forget about your minor vocal nodules, and you were very, very refreshed and feeling very, very good, and you didn't speak at all during those 3 days, I would say that's probably enough. And now you need to start doing some rehabilitating exercises, voice therapy. And so I would say the best things to start with are going to be really light phonation. And stay away from the risky stuff. Pulling chest is, I think more risky. It's easier to mess up. It's more physically difficult. If an athlete messed up their body, like the first thing that they do when they start getting back into it is not going to be the really hard stuff. You know what I mean? They're not going to be like, yeah, all right, I got like I pulled a muscle in my chest. Your chest voice. I pulled a muscle in my chest, and now I've recovered for, 3 days, and now I'm just going to jump back into pushing as much iron as I did before. It's like, no, you're going to start lighter. You're going to work your way back to it. You're going to be careful. I would start with light phonation. I would work with my falsetto a lot. If that happened to me, I would make sure that my blend between chest voice and falsetto was really, really, was feeling good. No tension, no pain. My vocal folds could phonate at a low volume without going like like breaking apart. So I would check in with how much inflammation I have. And then what I would do is like every day I would try to grow my abilities and like keep expanding to get back to where I was. Do you have anything you want to add, Felipe?
Yeah, it's kind of complicated because first you have to have a diagnosis of that. You can just assume you have nodules. I'm supposing you got it from a doctor, and you have a speech therapist that will work with you. Then it's a very good idea if you're a singer and you're sure that the nodules happen because of the singing. Probably a good idea to troubleshoot what's causing that. What are the problems, the functional issues that are leading to that, that are causing the nodules, because it's not, the nodules are kind of a sign of repetitive abuse. That something is going wrong very often, so your vocal folds are building up tissue because they're saying, okay, we're not gonna take this anymore, so I'm gonna build some defense in here and not hurt. So you have to figure out what's going wrong, and that's not very obvious to know so easily. It may be the case that you have to work strong depending on what's going on. There isn't a recipe for that.
Yeah.
Uh,
Well, let's say your nodules go away, right? Like you've
oh
recovered.
yeah.
Then what's to
Oh
prevent them from coming back? You know what I mean? Like that's where like you should train with a teacher. You should train with somebody that knows what like that can
yeah.
hear and tell you like, oh, I hear these problems going on vocally with you that are leading you to the nodule. So for example, if I'm gonna mix this attempt to be very chesty with increasing too much air, that's going to be too turbulent for the vocal folds to handle. They're not designed to handle stress like that. And so you're basically bashing them and making them do things and that they're not meant to do, right? If that's just one example of a wrong way to do it. And
Yeah,
if
yeah.
you do that, right? And and that's the thing that's leading you to basically the vocal damage, then you have to stop doing that. You have to figure out another way. But you could have just perhaps gotten nodules from abuse and not resting enough, not taking care of your voice, not, maybe you're not, maybe you have acid reflux. It has nothing to do with the way you're using your voice. Maybe you have acid reflux and you're using your voice okay, you're using your voice fine, but it's hoarse because of the food you're eating or something like that, right? And that's causing them to be swollen. And then when they're swollen, you keep bashing them against each other and using them, right, a lot. And then you don't have enough time to recover. And then when you do recover, you just get swollen again from the acid reflux. And so it's a vicious cycle. And then over time, you just start building up nodules. So there's many different causes. I think you have to determine what the cause of the nodules were
Yeah,
to really recover, to not get them back. I mean, that's just as important as recovering.
yeah, I agree with that because if you just heal and then you go back to the exact same thing that resulted on them, they are gonna come back.
Yeah.
Usually fast.
Yeah. Thank you. I don't know your name, Ibacello, but that's what I'm just going to call you. Il Bacello. Bacello.
Oh, thank
Bacello.
you.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah.
Bachel.
Bacello. So what are some more questions we got here? I kind of skipped some because I went to that $5 one.
There was one asking about should you even attempt to pull chess to B4 or C5? How far should you pull it?
Yeah, that's a good question. You should attempt to pull it that far. In my opinion, yes, you should. Because I think that what singers should do is explore their dynamic potential. You should see what are the sounds you can make that are going to be useful for you as a singer. I personally find it very empowering to be able to pull my chest voice that high. And especially when I want to sing with a stronger sound, the ability of me to be able to know, oh yeah, I got to find this kind of shape. This is how I drag that quality of my voice this high is very, very empowering. It makes me feel like I have better control over my voice, over my body. And not only that, just on that sort of level, that is sort of a genre, an unbiased genre approach, which is just like, listen, the more abilities you have, the more you understand your voice, the more expressive and artistic you can be. There's sort of that reason for doing it, but also stylistically. If you sing the kind of stuff that Felipe sings, you have to be able to maintain this open, strong quality to your voice. You can't be going, as soon as you hit B, what do I do here? A major scale? I'll do, I guess I'll do A. That won't work.
Yeah.
All the notes up to the B, we're going to be okay to sing with, But then if I'm at the top, and that's my power that I have, when I'm singing a phrase and it's supposed to have a strong character to it, and that's the vibe of the genre, that's the vibe of the sound, that's absolutely not going to work. That's not an acceptable stylistic sound.
Yeah, as I said, it's one important thing to talk about here is dynamics, because you may think that, well, it's just that very open sound, and I'm not gonna ever do that to sing. I'm gonna be like blasting, Journey. Let's say you're singing Journey, you go like, here we stand, words apart, life broken in two, two, two. You're not gonna do that, right? It's not gonna sound good. But the problem is the good thing is dynamic range is not restricted just to the open quality, the chest voice, right? If you're singing, if you switch to your lighter quality, you cover, right? You're using less density.
Yeah.
The rule is still the same. The higher you go, the more energy you need to sustain the same quality. It's the exact same thing.
Yeah.
So as you work to extend your chest voice and get more energy in that manner, get used to using more energy, by consequence, you're gonna have the tools that you need to extend the other registers too.
Yeah.
There is a rule that you can derive from this, like whatever quality you're using. I think we said this before. The higher you go, the more energy you need to sustain it.
Yeah.
Whatever quality, it's not just chest voice.
Yeah.
So even on falsetto, if you want to extend your range in falsetto, you're gonna need to reach, a C6, something like this. The level of energy you need.
Nice. Damn.
The level of energy you need there is similar to what you need on the C5.
Yeah.
On the quality.
Yeah.
It's the same intensity. So it's things go hand in hand. Not that you should do either. I kind of don't like doing the sound quality you get when you're doing that very open. To sing Journey like that's stupid.
Yeah.
You won't really do that.
Yeah.
But for training to get control and to get comfortable, it's very good to extend your register like that. I would say this.
Yeah.
If you plan on using like A4 live, you really should work like to the B4 or C5 on the same quality, just to have a comfortable margin of error. I can't fuck up, and because it's well within my limits. So you're gonna be more relaxed doing it, more comfortable.
Yeah, that's a good point. If you want to sing, if you don't plan on pulling chest voice to C5, which is fine, stylistically, maybe you just hate the sound, you don't like the feeling, it's too much energy, you don't like it, whatever,
Yeah.
Like if you do want to do it to an A though, you should probably practice pulling it higher, because when you're singing a note that's the top of the note for that quality, for that voice, that is more scary, and that makes you more insecure about your voice. And I think, like what I was saying earlier about the fact, like what I like about being able to do it is that it empowers me, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And makes me feel confident and secure. Like, oh, I could do it if I wanted to, you know what I mean? I know what it takes. And that makes me feel more secure about my voice overall. And I absolutely agree with Felipe that you do need to, if you want to make your mixed voice or your lighter registers, if you don't like the sound of a yell, which, it's fine. I don't sing this way. When I sing most of the things I sing, I don't pull chest. But what it did do for me, and still does for me, is it allows me to make my let's say my mixed voice or my not pulled chest, my thinner quality of voice stronger. And that is invaluable. So a lot of times people will get to the A4 for men, and then they will thin. You'll start to get a much thinner sound. And so you hear this in SLS, again, speech level singing, Brett Manning, all those kind of people. There's a big change, a vocal quality change around A4. They start to thin. They don't retain the same like chesty quality, right? But our favorite singers do. You know what I mean? Well, mine do anyway. So like that, pulling my chest voice past there, what is interesting is, let's say if I remember earlier when I did the A4 and then I went from O to U and E to E, that's going to pulling my chest voice and then narrowing my vowel or closing my vocal tract down enough to lose the pulled chest voice character is actually going to make the result, that mixed voice or whatever we're going to call it, the cover, it's going to make that stronger than if I didn't do it. So if I approach it again, so there's this idea in SLS, light is right, or light and right first, something like this. I disagree with that a lot. So if you do it that way, you're going to really struggle to build intensity into your mixed voice, into these closed qualities, right? It's going to be really hard. You're going to feel like you're hitting a wall. No, 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 no. There's so many SLS teachers that sound like that as they're at a C5, Exactly. Just press into That's not a strong sound. And if you're starting places like this and then you just try to get louder, it's not like your cap is like way earlier, your dynamic like volume potential, even in this unpulled chest sound. But if I'm able to like basically what I'm saying is there's different strategies for developing your voice, and pulling chest voice high and then learning to mold it into something that isn't pulled chest voice is a way smarter strategy to get more power out of your voice.
Yeah, I just remembered one thing that we had a conversation before on one of the attempts to get this video going. Uh, Another thing about the way you build those registers and why developing the dynamic range like this is important is that if you start to drill just a narrow path through those notes, a one way to sing them, and you start to go just going up and down in pitch and trying to find one way to sing the notes, you're gonna position every pitch a little bit different, a little bit different quality here, another transition there. It's gonna be like a very sinuous path, a maze almost that you have to navigate all the time. And if you go like 1 inch too strong or too soft, you're gonna have problems like in breaking, because you're gonna be trying to use a level of intensity or a quality that you didn't develop properly. You never worked on it.
Yeah.
You have just this very, very, very narrow path that you have to stay on. And if you go to the sides, you don't have anything to support your voice. And when you work thinking of dynamic range and expanding, not just the very strong sounds, but also the softer ones, you can work on all of that, go from very soft to very strong. That's a very good idea.
Mm-hmm.
Even if you do a mistake, the mistake is going to be there. You went too strong. No problem. I can do the strong sound.
Yeah. Yeah.
Soft. Yeah. No problem. I have the soft sound. Maybe it will not sound exactly like you wanted, but it's much better than a huge mistake like a break or something.
That's important, because if let's say that my voice is a circle. Like my entire voice capability is a circle or a sphere, right? Well, let's go with circle because I'm a two-dimensional simpleton. So if we go with a circle, this is my.
It's getting too philosophical for me, but all right.
This is my voice's capabilities, all within this circle. And then let's say that all I want to do is sing within this margin. So what does that mean? Well, I can make a sound like this. That's within my circle. Let's say it fits. It's like over here, and then is within my circle too. It's over here, and is within my circle too. It's like over here or something like that. And is within my circle. It's like right over here. But I don't want to use all those sounds. I only want to use this amount of sounds. So what happens when you're singing and whoopsie, you accidentally go outside in a certain direction outside of your desired margin? If you never explored how to do those sounds in a healthy way, that seems like a danger zone to you. It's like, skull crossbones, don't go over there. Yeah, it's like, no, don't go.
I remember.
The CVT, yeah.
CVT. I love that picture.
I know,
with the
Oh, me too. Okay, so
it.
what Felipe is saying is if you explore, and so basically here's singing in this little margin, here's singing in a way that isn't pulling chest voice. Let's say with less intensity, with less dynamics. Like maybe you like pop. Pop isn't as strong, as chesty as singing rock is. It's just not. It's not part of rock is more aggressive. Rock is more powerful. Rock is louder. Rock has a lot more intense sounds. Yeah! I just ear raped them. Sorry, guys.
I know you want to sing metal. I'll convert you.
Yeah, if he's working on converting me. Let's say that you only want to be here, right? But then you start treating like, oh no, if I'm too loud or too strong, like here's pulling chest here, right? Here's my circle, right? And then here's pulling chest within my capability, but not within my desire. And then if you don't train it, you're gonna sometimes mess up. Sometimes you're gonna move your mouth into the wrong shape. Sometimes when you're singing live and you're being emotional and you're being expressive, you're gonna use a sound that just comes out, and maybe it wasn't what you expected. And if you never trained your voice to be flexible enough to handle when, oh, whoopsie, like that, you know what jazz music is? A bunch of mistakes that actually sound good, right? So, if we're talking about artistry, it's a very, very foolish idea to imprison your vocal capabilities based off like what's correct and good vocal technique to this limited box. No, explore all of it. It's like art. It's like colors that you get to use as a singer. Not every time you're going to be painting with bright neon pink, but maybe sometimes a little bit of bright neon pink is going to really work for you, right? And it's going to like make that painting or art or whatever really, really good. That's more like what a pop singer does when they use like a pulled chest sound. It's like something you do here and there, not that often. It's not the staple. As a rock singer, you love bright neon pink. That's your staple.
Yeah. Well, there is some truth to that. If you look at 80s.
That's true. Yeah. All right. So somebody says, what comes to your mind when one says pushing the voice? Do you want to take that? I'll be right back.
All right. So again, it depends a lot. Maybe you're pushing, your limits, expanding the things that you can do, as we were talking about, or maybe you're doing something really not smart, which is forcing your voice to do stuff, and that's not a really good way to do it. You have to find the correct manner to do what you want, right? Again, it goes in the direction of the idea of muscle building. Like your voice is a muscle, so you have to, work hard and tough all the time, and it's gonna grow. And it doesn't quite work like that. It's much more a matter of coordination that you're developing, not muscle tissue like hypertrophy or something like that. There is perhaps a little bit of that involved. There is some research in that direction, but it's, if there is, it's very little. So usually you don't want to push your voice and force it to do stuff. You want to find a way to produce it, which may involve doing wrong stuff sometimes, messing up. This is normal when you're exploring a new coordination. But the key thing is not to insist on forcing and pushing and struggling with a coordination, thinking that it will, become something stronger in the end. That's not quite how it goes, and that's a bit dangerous to do. The forcing, the pushing path. I hope it's clear and it answers the question.
Okay, I'm back. I know everybody missed me so much.
Oh.
So we have another question. How much physical effort are you putting into those high chest notes? I would say a good amount of physical effort, but it's definitely going to make me physically tired. Let's put it this way. It's going to make me hungry faster than the other ones. Like it takes.
That explains a lot. Well,
like if you're walking, you're going to be able to go for a longer period of time than if you run fast. It's kind of like that.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, it's taking more work, but it's not killing my voice necessarily more.
Yeah. I would say that singing with heavier qualities for a long time, you're gonna break a sweat. It's gonna be very physical. You're gonna get very tired. Your voice not so much, but really your body is gonna work a lot for it.
Yeah. We got another really good question, Felipe. Another Felipe, or is it Philip? There's no e at the end.
Yeah,
so
that must be a very good question with a name like that.
Yeah, true. It's missing the e though. He asks, does the soft palate need to be risen in order to pull chest? Yes. Yes, it does. That I don't think you can do nasality and actually pull chest. I think that acoustically, it messes up a lot of the things you need. Opening the nasal port. I actually just put out a video about the nasal port and mixed voice. Opening the nasal port is a really good way to help shoot you out of a pulled chest sound into something. So it's actually a really good strategy. If you can pull chest voice up to an A4, if you can pull off a nasal pivot, just pop your nose open, you're going to do what CVT calls reducing density. The vocal folds are going to stretch more, and you're going to get a lighter sound. You're going to get a more mixy sound. So if I do that, let me see, if I do, hey! And I open my nose while I sustain that, and the hey has a raised soft palate. So if I do, hey! Hey! That's that switch there. Hey! Oh, I'm murdering their ears. Sorry, guys. If I do, you hear that kind of pop back and forth, and on the my voice takes on a lighter character. I'm not doing anything but popping my nose open. For me, I am unable to sing with nasality and pulled chest voice. Is it maybe possible? Maybe. But it's not necessarily about the soft palate being explicitly risen. It needs to be closed. The port. Here's your soft palate. Ding ding. Oh, I got another picture to show here. Actually, ooh, I'm on fire. So,
I was thinking about the positions and the coordinations for it, and the thing is, maybe you can lower the soft palate a little bit, but the problem is just to actually sound nasal, that's not enough. And for the open qualities, you are keeping your mouth very open, and the tongue position is not that high. So it's for you to sound nasal in that configuration, it's gonna take a lot of work, and I don't think it's doable. The minute you start to direct air to the nose in enough quantity to sound nasal, you're gonna change the positions that produce the open quality. It's not gonna work.
I agree. So here we can see a picture of the vocal tract. Amazing, best live stream ever. So here's your soft palate right there. So there's your tongue. So if you open your mouth and look, ha 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 ha. Moving up and down. That's this little dangly thing. That's the uvula is attached to the back of your soft palate. Soft palate and velum is the same thing. So if this touches the back wall like this, it's closed. It can also touch the wall and move up and down. What? I know. I just learned that recently, which is pretty cool. You can have your nose sealed, right? And so, yeah, the soft palate will raise like enough to close it, but then it can lift more and lower. So you could actually have this thing closed and then move it up and down. So you can both close off the nasal port and raise and lower the soft palate. And you could have it open and lift it a bit more, and you could lower it a bit more while having the nasal port open. So raising and lowering isn't necessarily linked to having it closed. Like raising the soft palate doesn't necessarily close the nose, but most often it will. So if people think, hey, odd, it's both lifted up in the back as far as possible, and it's sealed. So you can see the difference. If I go, you see how the uvula just kind of shrinks up into the back? That's because it's like lifting up and it's raising even further. This back little dangly part is going up there, right? And then but with the nose sealed, it's closing and it is lifting, but not as much as possible. That's not nasality. That's just raising and lowering. Okay, so
all right.
I think that answers that.
I agree. Yeah, and I'm answering to Junior. Yes, I'm from Brazil. Tudo bom, cara?
Cool. Greg, jazz music is knowing the rules and breaking them with finesse. Yeah, but sometimes they break it accidentally. Have you seen that joke where like a mistake in classical music and then the reaction's like, and then a mistake in jazz music and everybody's like, ooh. You hit a wrong note in jazz. It's like, ooh, that was funky, So, yeah. Classical is more strict in the musical interpretations. Okay. We got any more questions? Are you thinking of calling out to produce that sound? Yeah. I'm not sure which sound you're talking about. Pulling chest voice, right? Yeah, it's like calling out. It's like a yell, like "Hey, hey, yo!" That's pulling your chest voice.
Yeah, there's a lot of references you can try. Like calling out is one. Scolding a pet, scolding your kids. Like if your dog is eating your shoe, you're gonna use like a very imperative voice, a command voice with them. That's kind of on the same direction. Anything that triggers you to use a stronger voice quality will bring you in that direction. That's actually a very good idea
Yeah, I agree.
to practice because it's gonna take care of everything, position, intensity, and the clarity that you need.
Yeah. So I think we've talked about pretty much everything we need. If there's no other questions, guys, we're gonna wrap it up. Um, I am going to. I'll drop a link right now to Felipe's channel. Let me find it real quick, and I will update the description. Um, how do I spell your last name, Felipe?
Felipe Carvalho, Carvalho.
Say it for me. Carvalho.
Carvalho.
Did I say it right? I did it.
Yeah, kind of,
What
almost.
do you mean, kinda? It was spot
Like
on.
like my brassy, that's breathy.
Carvalho. Oh, I see.
Carvalho.
Yeah, it's like you're brassy. That's breathy. That's right. That's right. Okay, let me. So now I've got your
All right.
URL, and I'll put that in the chat right now, so y'all can find Felipe.
Yeah.
Somebody asked earlier if we teach voice lessons. We both teach voice lessons,
Yeah.
right? Yeah. So,
We do.
y'all can. Will they be able to find your information from your YouTube channel, like an email or something?
Yeah, it's there. It's there. I'm gonna even check it.
Actually, I don't see it in your about section.
Well,
You don't have it.
I will update it then.
Yeah, that'd be good. Yeah. So just, I'll update the description too. I'll try to put your email or something.
All right.
But yeah, so okay, so yeah, if there's no more questions, guys,
Yeah,
we're gonna take off.
This question, I think it's very pertinent. Can you please pronounce your surname too, Greg?
It's I don't even know if I pronounce it correctly. I think I may be pronouncing it wrong, but it's well, I think you're supposed to say it like Bustritsky. The only part I'm confused about, the only part I'm confused about is the beginning. Do you say Bustritsky or Bustritsky? I'm not sure if there's a little bit of a W in there, Bui, or if it's just Bustritsky or Bustritsky. I'm not sure because I hear my dad do it, and then I've heard my brother do it a different way, and then my mom do it a different way, and so I'm just like, what I say is Bustritsky. All right. One day I just decided I'm gonna just America. Yeah. Actually, I wanted to ask you guys. That reminded me. Thank you so much for that question because I wanted to ask all y'all watching the live stream if I should change my YouTube name away from Bistritsky because this is going to be the year where I try to focus on growing my YouTube channel. And one of the things that I've learned is that like you want your YouTube channel name to be easily memorable, right? And so that if somebody's like, "Oh, have you seen this guy?" Like if I said, "Look up Ken Tamplin," you'd be able to spell that, right? But my name, it's very hard to spell, and I think that would make it my last name. It would be harder to find my channel and hurt my growth. So I was thinking I could change my last name to my grandma's maiden name, which is West, and so I would do it like I would do Gregory West, and that would be my YouTube name. What do you guys think? I think it kind of sounds like a stripper name. Everybody, welcome Gregory West. But I think it's got a nice ring to it. What do you guys think? Okay. Sorry, that was a side note. To handle the subglottal pressure, could you use that sound C3 to D4? What sound? The pull chest sound? What do you mean to handle the subglottal pressure? I think to handle a high amount of subglottal pressure, you have to have the right shape. And that's kind of what we're talking about with pulling chest voice. Like if you do a sound that has isn't pulling chest, your vocal folds are going to thin more, and they're not going to be able to resist as much pressure. So the pressure will drop. It's like a system. If you change one of the parts, it's going to respond naturally. My subglottal pressure will physically drop without me dropping it. If I go from O to oo, and I'm mixing on my oo and I'm pulling chest on my O, the pressure is responding automatically because of the vocal folds behavior. I'm not like decrease support by 5%. It just kind of happens. So I'm not sure I completely grasp the nature of your question, Peter.
Yeah, me neither. I'm trying to think about it, but I'm not sure also.
So
Subglottal pressure will depend mostly on the level of compression that you're using, and it will rise or lower depending on the quality. Yeah.
yeah. So somebody said, can you explain the concept of zipping up the voice?
Oh, hmm. That's because that's part of a system, and I'm not sure they are very sure of what that means to begin with.
I think
I
it's an
try to,
SLS thing, right?
yeah,
It's an
singing
SLS thing.
success
It's
in
about,
special.
I think it's about allowing the vocal folds to stretch more as it increases. So basically, in complete vocal technique, it's going to be reduced density. It's going to be the vocal mode of curbing. It's going to be a lighter sound. It's
Yeah.
going to be the ability for your vocal folds, the ability for you to ascend to higher pitches without getting louder. Let's put it that way, and without using falsetto. So if I can go ah, mum 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 without going mum 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 mum, and they'll say, yeah, the voice is zipping up. That's to me what they're going after, this feeling of like something changing in here, or feeling a little lighter or thinner. It does, if you switch from like something like with a lot of metal, it does feel like if you go you can kind of feel something click on in here, and I think I do feel more like meat to my voice here when I do overdrive, for example, than if I do curbing. It feels lighter here, like less work. I don't know. Maybe I'm crazy, but
Yeah,
I think I can feel that.
That sure is what they are after. But I never got a really clear answer on what zipping up exactly in that sense. I don't know. Maybe something in the direction of what you call flag tension or something like that. I'm not sure.
Yeah, that part too. I think it is a little conflated with what I call flageolet tension.
Yeah.
Oh, it looks like.
Anyway, so what I understand as a full closure, which would be the folds really adducting completely, is having a good level of clarity, like we talked about previously. The very defined vowels, no breathiness to the sound, and in metal in special, we'll make sure that the vocal folds are properly adducted and zip it up, right?
Yeah, the weird thing about that is that like it's just wrong anatomically, unless you're doing whistle tones. Your vocal folds are vibrating along their entire length, so there's nothing really to zip up. But your vocal folds, if we look at an endoscopy, they can look like they're opening more, right? Like they're staying open longer than they are closing. So you'll see, like in neutral, if you look at like somebody singing in neutral, you'll see that the vocal folds are longer and stretched more in neutral. Then if you see a metallic mode, you'll see them sort of look shorter and more jumped up together. And what we know about like vocal behavior as well is that like if they're staying closed longer, then that's adduction. So your vocal folds will be like this. Like if you clap, this is what they're doing. So it's not just this, right? This. So if they stay open like this longer when they touch, like if the phase is more open, I don't know. Yeah, I'm getting mixed up. But basically, if they stay closed longer, they're going to there's going to have a higher closed quotient, and then that's going to be linked to more of a metallic sound, basically.
Yeah. What I mean is that if you're worried about having complete deduction or not, which is something that can happen and that you can have a trouble with, using the fuller qualities and high clarity on sound and vowels is a good way to take care of that. Other than that context, what would be zipping up to me doesn't make much sense, honestly.
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense to me. I don't even think of and so zipping has nothing to do with adduction. Like adduction's like a spectrum where you can mess with that, like and that's different adduction. Yeah, we know the vocal folds are doing different things, but it has nothing to do with a zip. I think it's just a sensation. It's like a sensation that somebody's like, I feel like my voice is coming from this part and my vocal folds are like doing this. Like that's where that idea comes from. But that is not necessarily It's not grounded anatomically. All right. Anyway, it
Yeah,
sounds
yeah.
like y'all think that Gregory West is good. I like that.
Gregory
Have
West.
something about vocals or singing. I don't think I want to do that because what if I don't want to like always make content just about like vocal coaching? Like what if I want to like just like make content or I want to change my channel? I want to get my name to be my brand so that if I do something else, it carries that power with it. Um,
The power of the
the
West.
power of the West. The power of the Bistritsky.
The booster,
I,
boosteristic.
I should I should make my channel name the Bistritsky Bomb. Oh man.
All right. I
Okay, is
think
that
that's
it?
it then. Is there any other questions? I don't see it.
I
And
think
I think we can wrap it up.
oh, Peter says singing success used to say that the vocal cords literally zip up like a zipper fly to make high pitches. They and that wasn't just singing success.
Yeah.
That was actually CVT used to think that too. But that was wrong. So, let's see. I think that's it. All right. Oh, how do you improve musicality? I mean, that's not really on topic, so we can go if we want.
Yeah, I can try to answer that real quick, and
Uh,
then we
All right.
wrap it up.
Yeah, let's do
All
it.
right. So, musicality is kind of a complex topic because it's very hard to know exactly what it is, right? It's part of cognitive, uh, it's part of a cognition, so it's not easy to narrow down. But you can think like this: it's your ability to imagine sounds, to understand different sounds in different contexts, to remember them, and to bring it up, to bring them into reality, to craft them into reality, to actualize it, right? So one very good way you can work on this is by something I see some people calling it active listening. Basically, you're gonna take a song that you like a lot, sit down with a good headphone or a good system, listen to it, take a good listen through the whole thing, then go back and try to focus on elements like what is the cymbal doing, what is the bass line during the whole song,
Mm-hmm.
and pay attention to just one element. Stop the song, try to remember how it went, the whole thing. Try to remember the whole thing. You're not going to be able on the first go, but just by trying to do this, you are working on the skill that you want to improve. And as you do this, if you're not used to practicing in this manner, you're going to see that you get tired really fast. It's really demanding on your mind. You really have to concentrate, and it takes a lot of effort. But as you do this more and more through the days, you're going to see that it's going to get easier. You start to remember things more clearly. You have a, a better, I'll not say image, a better sound in your head
Mm.
of how the music actually went, or
Mm-hmm.
how the bass was playing, even the tone
Mm.
that was being used.
Yeah.
And this is a really good work if you need to work on musicality and your skill as a musician in general.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's a good idea.
I agree with that so much. I think you said it really, really well, especially that part in the beginning. That's from Alex, and I just had a lesson with him, and you're basically repeating what I told him to do.
Oh,
There's
good.
there's this clip on YouTube too, by the way, of Michael Jackson where he gets called into like he's in a courtroom because he's getting sued that he plagiarized his music. And on the spot, he literally is like, well, first I heard the drums and they were going like boom tsk, boom tsk, ah, ta, boom tsk, boom tsk, ah, boom tsk. And then he was like, and then I just heard, like some kind of like high string instrument going dun 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 dun, and he's literally hears it in his head. He's
Yes.
recreating his composition. He's hearing
Yeah.
boom tsk, boom tsk, ah, boom, and then
And
he's
the
hearing
level of
dun,
detail,
dun, like he's hearing that together, and then he's isolating the parts, and he's hearing all that sounds together. So can you
Yeah.
sit there and hear a song and then go, oh, I hear the drums doing this and the guitar chord doing this progression. You know, vrun, 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 vrun. And you hear like this chord, and then you hear the way that it moves, and then you can copy that sound. Like, as a singer, it's one thing to be able to copy a melody line, right? But it's also another thing to be able to hear, oh, what's the drums doing? What's the piano doing right there? What does that chord sound like? What does it make me feel like? Your ability to perceive more is the key to you being more successful with musicality. You like singers that are very, very expressive have a wide perception of like, oh, that chord, like, ooh, when they did that chord, like, let's see, and it's got that in it. It's got a little bit of an emotional like pull to it. There's something different when I put the seventh on that rather than this one. So your ability to go and to match that, and to be able to go, oh, that chord moving that way makes me think of this, right? And makes my voice and my body sort of elicit this emotional response. And then having the technical tools, the colors, to be able to know that's the right tool for the job there. Like, breathiness and softness and a more darker rounded color communicates that emotion better than if I'm doing, you know, whoa, whoa, ah, that one really doesn't fit. Ah, you know, it doesn't work. So if I'm singing something, you have to know musically also, like, how do you color your voice the right way for the spot, and where is it appropriate to go soft? And it's emotional, you know, at the end of the day, you're trying to like communicate, I think, emotionally.
Yeah, I think it's a huge topic on its own, and then you can go into music theory and all that. And I think it's a good answer. I agree with you. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. I guess that's it. Yay. This was fun. I think I had more fun doing this than I did our calls. So.
Yeah. It was more entertaining.
Yeah, it was more entertaining.
Being live is always different, right?
Yeah, it was fun. Well, thank you so much. I appreciate it, Felipe.
Thank you.
Again, I'll put
everyone also.
Yes, thank you everybody
watching.
I will make sure to put your information in the description, so if anybody's interested, you guys can head down there, check that out. So you can find Felipe's channel and take a listen to his singing and his watch whatever content you like, subscribe. And you can find more information about lessons with him. He teaches voice lessons online, so do I. So if you guys are interested, if you are struggling with, with getting, the results, the sounds out of your voice that you want, voice lessons can be a really good idea to help stimulate and grow. It's one thing for us to describe it and to show these different sounds, but as an individual, when you're trying to apply this kind of stuff, you'll be making mistakes and be doing things that you don't realize you're doing. I can tell you like how many times in a lesson, for example, I'm like, smile. And then the person goes like this. They go like, ah, and then they stop smiling halfway through the scale. It's like, it's easy to say you need to open your mouth more to get the higher notes, or you need to put your tongue like in this position, or you need to think this vowel, but you may not be doing it, and you may not realize that you're doing it, and you may be like, I'm so frustrated, like, what am I doing wrong? Guided, instruction, if you're struggling with these ideas, if they're not clicking, if they're not making sense, if you're not able to quite get it, lessons can really help sort that out and figure it out. I think they're an invaluable tool.
Yeah, this was really, really fun, and
absolutely,
whenever you want to do it again, I'm up to it.
Okay.
All right?
Sweet. All right.
Thanks, Greg.
All right. Bye.
Bye, everyone. Ciao.
All right, guys. Thank you again. I think I will change my channel name to Gregory West, unless we got some strong reasons why not. I think it would be better, because I think I want to be able to like make a YouTube video and say like, hey guys, well, I'll be like, hey guys, what's up, singers? Welcome back to my channel. I'm Gregory West, and before we get started on this video, make sure you check me out. My website is gregorywest.com. Like, how nice would that be? But if I do my name, check me out at gregbistritsky.com, nobody's going to be able to remember that. You know, I just don't think it's as memorable. So that's kind of what I'm worried about. But yeah. Yeah, Luke, I completely agree. Every sound and note must come from a strong feeling. Music is a universal communication. A lot of people get too mental about everything. I agree. I think that if you're too analytical, it's not going to work. You need to be focused on emotionally expressing something authentic, and that's the kind of music and sounds that people are attracted to. That's what makes a good singer, is somebody that is able to get into that moment, you know, that performative aspect, and communicate a story, basically telling a story, sharing something emotional. It's all about the emotion. It's not about you know, sometimes we do enjoy like very, very skilled singing, but most people don't. Like, we don't like that because it's bland. We want to hear something interesting, and like we want to feel it. You know what I mean? You want to listen to people that sing with soul. You don't want to hear something that just sounds like bland and like, it's a pretty voice, but that's all it is. You know what I mean? All right, guys. When are you going to do the classics 5-hour stream? I don't think I'm gonna ever do a 5-hour stream again, guys. I don't think I'm ever gonna do a 5-hour stream ever again. But I will do the live streamed voice lessons again. Yeah, I don't know. Because last time I tried to do it too with Tony, I tried to like have somebody come on and us do it, but nobody like wanted to come on. So I was surprised that nobody wanted to like be a test singer. So yeah. All right, guys. Thanks for watching. Please, if you're not subscribed, subscribe, like this video, share it, comment. All of that stuff helps me out to grow my channel. Let me know. You can comment, on this one, not in the live chat. I won't see it because I'm about to end the stream, but let me know what kind of content you guys would like to see. I really am going to try to take this seriously and, release content for you guys. I want to, start actually singing more too, and not just talking about singing, but actually do some singing on my own. That would be a nice thing to do. So, but let me know what kind of content you guys want to see, okay? All right. Thanks for watching, guys. I'll talk to you later.